Chapter 2445. Woo! While everyone was in a daze, the 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit in front of them suddenly revealed a terrified expression. In the next moment, she knelt on the ground. Her head touched the ground as if she was prostrating herself on the ground. Even her body was trembling slightly. Leave quickly. Don't look back. Don't look at her. When the other monks saw this scene, they all called out to everyone. Heavens, what was going on? At this moment, the prodigies and elders of the various sacred grounds, great sects, and royal families were all stunned. Wasn't this little monk too terrifying? He made a 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit kneel just by putting on a Dharma idol? This was a 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit. Even the eminent monks of the western desert could not deal with it. Now, it was kneeling to a little monk? If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it even if they were beaten to death. At this moment, after hearing the reminders from the sacred grounds, Lin Xian and the others quickly walked forward. The people from the other sacred grounds also left one after another. However, at this moment, everyone felt a strange feeling behind them. It was as if someone was watching them. Some of the weaker martial artists even heard someone calling their names. Lin Xian also had the same feeling. Their faces were gloomy, and Lin Xian's expression was even more solemn. Because he remembered that the mysterious little monk had told them not to look back. He did not know why they should not look back, but he knew that if they did, they would definitely be in danger. However, at this moment, they had a strong feeling of turning back. Lin Xian, Murong Qingqing, elderly, and the others were strong and were fine. However, those young martial artists were probably not going to make it. No matter how strong they were still a little lacking compared to the 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit. Therefore, those young martial artists of Immortal Palace were almost unable to control themselves. At this moment, Lin Xian shouted in a low voice. The great dragon sword soul in his body rushed out and circled above their heads, letting out a loud dragon roar. Roar! The great dragon sword soul enveloped all the martial artists of Immortal Palace. Tens of thousands of sword lights descended, cutting off all connections. The martial artists of Immortal Palace heaved a sigh of relief. They felt that the strong calling in their hearts had disappeared. This made them feel a lingering fear. They did not dare to look back and quickly walked forward. However, the others were not so lucky. A few martial artists of Five Elements sect could not help but turn their heads. Ah! Not only that, the entire Five Stars Palace was under attack, and so were the people of the Nine Heavens Holy Land. In addition, the Illusion Palace, the Unfettered Sect, and the other Sacred Land clans were also affected. A terrifying power of resentment swept out in all directions. Not good. The Western Desert monk's expression changed. The young monk's expression was grave as well. Unexpectedly, these people still couldn't hold back. Sigh. He sighed and pointed to the sky with one hand and the ground with the other. But this time, he could only protect the people of the Western Desert. 1. The imitation dragon pattern cauldron rushed out from the Wavering Light Holy Land, stabilizing the sky and protecting the people of the Wavering Light Holy Land. In the Grand Xia Empire, dragon-shaped auras also rushed out from the bodies of the elders, forming the true dragon diagram. He resisted the resentment. Other than that, the Five Elements Palace unleashed the Five Elements Mountain, while the Nine Heavens Divine Emperor formed 9 cauldrons that floated in the void. At this moment, the clans of the various great sages all unleashed their ultimate techniques. They ran away madly. The vengeful spirit roared and pounced forward. 1. A ball of Buddhist light appeared on the young monk's body. Amitabha. A loud Sanskrit voice sounded between heaven and earth, shocking the 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit. Using this opportunity, everyone was able to escape. When they completely left the temple, the terrifying resentment behind them disappeared. Everyone stopped and heaved a sigh of relief. Their expressions became extremely ugly. Among them, most of the forces were affected. Only the Western Desert, Lin Xian's Immortal Palace, the Wavering Light Holy Land, and the Empire of Skyscrapers were intact. Other than that, Everyone had more or less lost their disciples. This made these people's expressions very ugly. They were afraid that this was only the early stage of the saint's tomb, and there were already such terrifying things. Who knew what kind of heaven-defying existence was deeper? On the immortal palace's side, Elderly and the others stood out and bowed slightly in the direction of the western desert. The others also expressed their gratitude. They had no choice but to thank the people of the western desert. Especially the young monk, who had intimidated the 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit. Otherwise, the impact they suffered would have been even more serious. They might even have been wiped out. May I know the name of the holy monk? An elder of the Wavering Light Holy Land asked. Senior, you are too polite. I am a disciple of the Lanruo Temple, and my Buddhist name is No Flower. Lanruo Temple, No Flower. Everyone silently remembered this name in their hearts. Needless to say, this was definitely a saint-level prodigy. Moreover, his physique and bloodline were probably not simple. It was very likely that his background was frightening. That was because a Dharma idol could intimidate a 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit. This was definitely not something an ordinary monk could do. Everyone guessed that the other party should be like the Yi family's sacred body, possessing a peerless bloodline. However, no one knew what kind of physique and bloodline it was. No Flower of the Western Desert. Lin Xian also took a few more glances at the other party. He had to admit that this No Flower was too mysterious. Murong Qingqing at the side also said that the Lanruo Temple in the Western Desert was also a sacred place. However, he had never heard of this No Flower before. He did not expect him to show such heaven-defying means as soon as he appeared. It seemed that this was indeed a golden age with geniuses coming out in large numbers. I think Big Brother Lin Xian is still the most powerful. Xin Jingqiu at the side squinted her big crescent-shaped eyes and said. Indeed, she was not wrong. Many people looked at Lin Xian's side in shock. This was because other than the Western Desert, Alcade, and Great Xia dynasty, only Lin Xian's immortal palace was intact. However, the Western Desert had the mysterious No Flower, the Alcade had the imitation dragon-patterned cauldron, and Great Xia had the aura of the Tao of Dragons. What kind of means did Immortal Palace use? They also seemed to have seen a giant dragon hovering above their heads. What was going on? Did Immortal Palace also have the aura of the Tao of Dragons? They could not understand. Especially those from Great Xia dynasty. When they saw the dragon-shaped sword Qi, they were even more shocked. That was because the dragon-shaped sword Qi gave them a very shocking feeling. These people were not simple. The people of Great Xia dynasty attached great importance to Lin Xian and Immortal Palace. Among them, the prince of Great Xia dynasty stared at Lin Xian with flickering eyes. No one knew what he was thinking. Let's go. The elder of the Alcade sacred land sighed and took the lead to leave with his people. Everyone followed. Lin Xian also led the people of Immortal Palace forward. A tunnel appeared in front of them again. However, this time, the tunnel was wider. It was like many caves connected together. It was still dark and the ground was uneven. When everyone stepped on it, cracking sounds could be heard. Relying on the light on their bodies and the radiance of their battle armor, they looked down and realized that there were countless white bones. Chapter 2446. Relying on the light on their bodies and armor, they looked down and realized that there were countless bones. Some belonged to humans, some belonged to demonic beasts, and they covered the ground. They were as white as snow. This was probably not a good place to be. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. They could feel that the resentment in this place was definitely deeper. Could there be 10,000-year-old resentful spirits? These people were extremely nervous and could not help but gather towards where Wu Hua was. Along the way, everyone was shocked. These bones were very fragile and turned into powder when stepped on. It seemed like they had existed for countless years. Among these bones, there were bones that were shining. This was even more shocking. After tens of thousands of years, these bones were still shining. Just how heaven-defying were these people's cultivation base when they were alive? No one dared to imagine. This made them even more careful. In front, their field of vision gradually widened. However, everyone's expression became uglier because there were countless corpses piled up in front of them. Some of these corpses had already decomposed into bones while some had not decomposed and still had flesh on them. They were densely packed and piled up like a mountain. It made one's scalp tingle. Lin Xian and the others knew that these were not ordinary corpses. Any one of them was probably a powerhouse. Why did these people die here? They did not know. Could it be that there was a great battle here in the past? Or was it because of other reasons? These people were all guessing. In elemental grass. At this moment, Peacock exclaimed in surprise. What did you find? Lin Xian asked. Temple Master, I found in elemental grass. Peacock pointed at a few black plants in front and said, I heard Ghostly mention this before. It's a very rare spiritual medicine. It has great benefits for people who cultivate the Ghost Tao. Ghost Spirit Wood. The martial artists from South Ridge exclaimed in surprise. Their eyes were burning with passion because on the other side, there were a few purple trees growing near the corpses. It must be a treasure of the Yin elemental Ghost Tao. Ha, then I won't hold back. A martial artist in a black robe sneered. He struck out a palm that covered the sky and grabbed forward. Humph! A cold laugh rang out as a fist smashed into the continent like a meteor. Rumble! The sky shook and the earth shook. The surrounding space cracked. The sky-covering giant hand was sent flying. The meteor-like fist also disappeared in the sky. Damn it, who is it? A black-robed man stood out, his voice cold as his gaze swept across the surroundings. What? You want to fight now? Ask me if I agree or not. A middle-aged man from the Four Symbols Holy Grounds stepped forward. Four Symbols Sacred Grounds. The black-robed man frowned when he saw this. Humph! Your Four Symbols Holy Lands reaches too far. This is a death-type treasure. It's useless for your Four Symbols Sacred Grounds to have it. Useless? Who said it was useless? You also said that this is a treasure. How can it be useless if you sell it or exchange it? That's right. Everyone nodded in agreement. Indeed, even though they didn't practice the darkness element, they could still trade for it. Presumably, after taking it out, those kings who cultivated the Ghost Tao of Darkness would be more than happy to exchange it with them. However, the faces of the warriors from the South Ridge darkened. There were many black-robed men among them. They were probably cold ghosts. How could he possibly agree to that? To them, this was a supreme treasure. Scram! Otherwise, don't blame me for starting a massacre. The black-robed man shouted coldly. You can try. The middle-aged man from the Four Symbols Holy Grounds was fearless. Boom! He directly raised his hand and slammed it down. That palm transformed into a huge mountain, pressing down from the sky with boundless power. Courting death. The black-robed man was enraged when he saw this. With a wave of his sleeve, endless black gas transformed into a huge snake in the air. It opened its mouth and bit at the mountain above. Boom! 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 In the sky, cracks appeared on the huge mountain. Then, it collapsed and scattered in all directions. These black-robed men were so powerful. They could actually break the Four Symbols Holy Grounds mystique. The surrounding experts were also shocked. They were from the Myriad Poison cult. Stay away from them. They all carry lethal poison on them. Even a peerless mighty figure would probably die if they were to fight them. Many people reminded him softly. Hearing this, the surrounding experts felt their scalps go numb. With a whoosh, they distanced themselves. However, the black-robed men sneered. Since you know we're from the Myriad Poison cult, why don't you scram obediently? All of these things are ours now. The surrounding experts' faces darkened when they heard this. What a joke. Although the Myriad Poison cult was powerful, it was only a peerless sect. Everyone here was a peerless sect or a peerless holy ground. Why should they fear the Myriad Poison cult? However, no one made a move because they wanted to see how strong the Myriad Poison cult was. What was there to be arrogant about? On the other side, Xinjingqiu pursed her lips. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. Peacock, do it. Bring those stalks of travel grass over. Yes. Hearing the order, Peacock stepped forward. She formed a seal with her palm, forming a green bottle that floated in the sky. Whoosh! Endless light flew out of the bottle, forming a silver river that swept towards the stalks of travel grass. Courting death. This is what the myriad poison cult wants. The myriad poison cult martial artists were enraged when they saw this scene. One of the black-robed men attacked again. In the sky, a black light lit up and directly cut the silver river in half. Whoosh! A black-robed man walked out. Little girl, it seems like you don't understand our words. Fine, let me teach you a lesson. His voice was filled with boundless arrogance. Judging from his voice, he seemed to be from the younger generation. Courting death. Peacock also shouted. She was also a sky pride. How could she allow others to humiliate her like this? Boom! She directly attacked. Whoosh! With a wave of her sleeve, thousands of rays of light scattered and directly tore through the void. Those rays of light were like sword chi, soaring into the sky and slashing towards the black-robed man. Humph, I'll show you the power of Luo Yan today. The black-robed young man shouted coldly. He pulled out a white-boned sword and directly attacked. Clang! The white-boned sword collided with the rays of light in the sky, creating a deafening sound. The terrifying sound wave shook the surroundings. It shattered the entire space. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The martialists in the surroundings quickly activated their battle armor when they saw the two young geniuses clashing. Furthermore, the momentum of the battle was so terrifying that they couldn't help but fend off the shockwaves of the battle. At the same time, the disciples of the Five Elements Palace, Nine Heavens Sacred Ground, and other forces also flew out. They wanted to snatch the travel grass and ghost spirit wood. In an instant, an intense battle broke out. On Peacock's side, the white-boned sword was extremely powerful. It cut through the rays of light in the sky. Humph! The black-robed young man, Luo Yan, sneered. You dare to go against the myriad poison cult with such little strength? You're really courting death. Little girl, go to hell. Luo Yan sneered and stabbed out with his white-boned sword again towards Peacock. Chapter 2447. No one knew what kind of beast's bone was used to make this white-boned sword. It was abnormally sturdy. Moreover, it carried a demonic energy. As soon as it appeared, a cold aura blew over as if hell had appeared. It made one's scalp tingle. Humph! Peacock snorted coldly, and a blurry shadow appeared behind her. Peacock spread tail. Whoosh! The terrifying energy swept in all directions like a wave, and the white-boned sword was instantly blasted away. Not only that, Peacock even slapped out with her jade-like hand, and endless divine light shrouded Luo Yan. The palm was too terrifying. It roared in the sky like a huge wave, and it covered the entire sky. The two of them fought fiercely. Luo Yan also used his ultimate move. His sword chi carried a strong corrosive effect. There was even poisonous gas coming out of his body. The poisonous gas could easily poison and kill a powerful being. That scene made everyone retreat, and they did not dare to get close. Fortunately, the illusory figure behind the peacock shone with 1,000 rays of light, isolating all of the poisonous gas. 1,000 demon eye. Boom! In the sky, the black spots on the peacock's tail rotated, forming demon god eyes, and they emitted a strange and unpredictable energy. Pfft! The black-robed youth, Luo Yan, suddenly vomited blood and was sent flying. His face was abnormally pale. Defeated! Seeing that, everyone exclaimed. Luo Yan's strength was terrifying, and his body was covered in poison. It could be said that he was very difficult to deal with. But now, he had been defeated so easily. The Immortal Palace's prodigy was too terrifying. Those people were shocked. What kind of divine ability was that? It was so terrifying, like the demon god eyes. That woman was incredible. She seemed to have the bloodline of Mahamyuri. No wonder. No wonder she was so powerful. Everyone was shocked. Peacock snorted and looked at the poisoned sect. Who else dares to fight with me for the een traversing grass? Come and die. You're courting death. The other prodigy could not stand it anymore. His body swayed, and he rushed over again. This time, he used a black chain as his weapon. Like a poisonous snake, he attacked Peacock. The two of them fought again. Just as they were fighting, on the other side, the people from the Demon King Palace also walked over. Along the way, they had also encountered a terrifying shadow. Furthermore, there was also one person missing. This scene caused the faces of the people from the Demon Imperial Palace to turn gloomy. Yan Ruyu and Huatiandu both had grave expressions because this place was truly too strange. Especially the elders of the Demon Imperial Palace, they all frowned. That's not right. Why does this mechanism not seem to belong to the demon clan, but to the human clan? They were extremely puzzled. They originally thought that the ancient tomb of the demon race would be much easier for them, but now, things were beyond their expectations. The mechanisms and formations along the way did not seem like they belonged to the demon race, but more like they belonged to the human race. But this shouldn't be the case. The two gates outside the ancient tomb were written in the ancient language of the demon race. How could it be a human ancient tomb? This made them extremely puzzled. The journey was fraught with danger. After defeating the strange hare, they arrived at a large hall, where they encountered the same white vengeful spirits. Not only that, but the 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit also appeared in an instant. His hair was disheveled, and his entire body emitted a monstrous aura, causing the martial artists of the Demon Imperial Palace to tremble. The elders' faces were even more solemn. Damn it, it's a 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit. How could there be such a terrifying thing here? The martial artists of the Demon Imperial Palace snorted coldly. Let's attack together and kill him. These people were all hot-tempered. However, an elder shook his head. Don't be rash, don't attack. Vengeful spirits were very strange. They couldn't fight them head-on. They had to think of another way. Let me do it. Yan Ryu stepped forward. She looked ahead with a calm expression. Poof! She bit her finger and flicked a drop of blood forward. Buzz! The drop of blood was crystal clear, and there were even strange patterns on it. Obviously, it was not ordinary blood. Ah! As expected, something strange happened. When the blood appeared and floated in the sky, the surrounding vengeful spirits all let out miserable cries. They all knelt down. The 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit in front of them also knelt down, his body trembling. This scene was very similar to the situation with No Flower, and it seemed to have caused an even greater shock than No Flower. If the martial artists of the sacred ground saw this scene, they would definitely exclaim in shock. Who was this woman? She was too terrifying. A drop of blood could make a 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit kneel. What kind of blood was that? Even the blood of a sacred body could not reach that level, right? The people of Demon Imperial Palace were also shocked, but they soon became excited. Sure enough, Huatiandu also laughed loudly. With a wave of his hand, the group quickly walked forward. Soon they left the palace. They were getting closer and closer to Lin Xian and the others. On Lin Xian's side, Peacock defeated another two people, causing the myriad poison cult to gnash their teeth. They did not expect that Immortal Palace only send out a young woman to suppress their myriad poison cult. What a slap to the face! The surrounding people also sneered, as if they were watching a show. Humph! You are very strong, but you dare to provoke my myriad poison cult? You are courting death. Now go to hell! At this moment, a cold voice sounded. A woman in a black robe walked out. This woman was extremely beautiful, and her eyes were even more soul-stirring. Myriad poison saintess! Someone cried out in surprise. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect the myriad poison saintess to make a move. There was a good show to watch this time. Peacock's expression was also serious. She could naturally feel the strength of the other party. Sister Peacock, come back. I will beat her. Behind them, Shinjinchio let go of Lin Xian's arm and stood out. What? Peacock turned around and looked at Lin Xian with a questioning look. Lin Xian asked, Is Chiyo okay? She is fine. I have wanted to fight for a long time. Shinjinchio also looked very excited. Indeed, she did not have many opportunities to fight. Now, she finally had one, and it was the vicious myriad poison Saintess. How could she let go of this opportunity? Let her try. Anyway, we are all here. Nothing will go wrong. Murong Qingqing also said with a smile. All right then, Peacock, come back. Yes. Peacock put away the 1,000 demon eyes and returned to Lin Xian's side, standing respectfully. Shinjinchio, on the other hand, stood up excitedly. She pointed her jade-like fingers forward. You're that saintess of all poisons? What skills do you have? Bring it on. Little girl, you really don't know what is good for you. Look at how cute you are. When you become a skeleton later, the scene will be very interesting. I have decided that I will seal your skeleton and make it part of my collection. Ah pui, vicious woman! Take this. Shinjinchio shouted and struck out her palm. A large purple palm descended from the sky, sprinkling down millions of rays of light. Chapter 2448. Shinjinchio might look cute, but she was not careless at all when she attacked. After all, she was Saintess Xixia. Sure enough, when the divine ability was used, everyone around cried out in surprise. The saints and saintesses also frowned. Her strength was not weaker than theirs. The saintess of all poisons sneered. Let me see what you're capable of. As she spoke, her figure flashed and she rushed over. In an instant she dodged the purple palm. At the same time, she waved 2 black sleeves, drawing out 2 poisonous snakes that spiraled in the air and attacked Shinjinchio. The 2 black pythons in the sky spun and stirred the void, emitting a sinister aura. In an instant, they reached Shinjinchio's side and coiled around her. Little girl, your combat experience is not very good. The saintess of all poisons sneered. The others were also discussing. They could also see that Shinjinchio's combat experience was clearly insufficient. This Saintess Xixia did not live up to her reputation. She had fallen into her opponent's trap so easily. It seemed that she had not fought many battles. This time, she was probably out of luck. Shinjinchio's small face was cold. She snorted and formed a seal with her palms. A cloud of purple gas rushed out of her body and wrapped around her. It spun quickly and formed a purple vortex. The purple vortex spun, and a terrifying energy surged in all directions like a stormy sea. This energy knocked away all the attacks. Seeing this, the people of Immortal Palace breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing's expressions also eased a lot. The martial artists and elders of the other sacred lands were also discussing spiritedly. It seemed that although she was not very experienced, she was still a saintess. Her strength could not be underestimated. Indeed, the strength that Shinjinchio displayed was definitely at the saintess level. It was just that her combat experience was slightly weaker. However, unless a real saint or saintess attacked her, it would be difficult for others to suppress her. This time, the one who attacked Shinjinchio was indeed the saintess of all poisons. The saintess of all poisons was also surprised when her attack was repelled. Then she sneered. Not bad, little girl. You actually dodged it. However, you may be able to dodge it this time, but can you dodge it next time? Humph. Shinjinchio snorted coldly and quickly made her move. Purple chi revolved around his body, forming 9 purple moons above him. The 9 purple moons rotated, stirring up the void, and 9 purple vortexes appeared. The space around her shattered, and the 9 moons radiated boundless divine light as they charged toward the saintess of all poisons. 9 moons connecting the skies. This was a great divine ability of the purple afterglow Holy Land. The surrounding people also cried out in surprise. Sure enough, the 9 moons spun in the sky. The saintess also stopped smiling. She felt a great pressure. It was as if the sky was pressing down on her, and all the bones in her body were making cracking sounds. Humph! The myriad poisoned saintess decisively took action. Her body was suffused with multicolored light that shot into the sky. These were all different types of poisonous gas. As soon as they appeared, they melted the void and surged upwards, wanting to melt the 9 suns together. Boom! Boom! When the two collided, an earth-shattering sound rang out, and a wave of energy swept out in all directions. Everyone retreated, putting some distance between them. At the same time, their armor lit up. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing fixed their gazes on the battlefield. Fortunately, they were relieved to see that Xinjingqiu and the Saintess of all poisons were evenly matched. The Saintess of all poisons snorted coldly. A dozen black vipers appeared behind her, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws as they charged forward. They clashed with the 9 suns. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. However, no one noticed that the situation around them had changed. The shockwaves of energy entered the corpses, as if they were being absorbed. Boom! 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 At first, nothing happened, but after absorbing enough energy, the mountains of corpses emitted low rumbling sounds, as if a peerless demon was slowly awakening. An unusually cold and terrifying power permeated the air. The cultivators of the various sacred lands and great sects trembled. They felt a chill run down their spines. However, they didn't think much of it. In their opinion, it was probably the shockwaves of the battle between the two saintesses that made them tremble instinctively. However, the elders frowned. Something wasn't right. This aura didn't seem right. On Immortal Palace's side, Xing Tian and Elderly also frowned. Something was wrong. Hearing this, Lin Xian hurriedly said, "Qiu'er, come back!" In the sky, Xinjingqiu controlled the 9 moons to contend against the Saintess of all poisons. When she heard Lin Xian's words, she launched another shocking attack. The 9 moons connected into one, shooting out a half-moon purple light that directly cut the void in half. The purple light slashed horizontally, slashing toward the Saintess of all poisons, trying to cut her in half. The Saintess of all poisons used her 5-colored poison gas to block the shocking attack. She wanted to attack again, but Xinjingqiu had already returned to Lin Xian's side. "Big brother Lin Xian, what's wrong? I can still fight. Don't attack first. Something's wrong." Lin Xian stopped Xinjingqiu and looked around with a serious expression. On the other side, the Saintess of all poisons also felt a trace of cold aura, but she didn't attack. The others who were fighting around her also attacked. They all looked around as if they were facing a great enemy. "Listen, what's that sound?" a 9 Dynasty cultivator said with a frown. "Roar! Boom!" Sure enough, everyone heard an unusual sound, and it was getting louder and louder. "Damn it, it's coming from the corpses!" The 9 Heaven Sacred Ground cultivators were terrified. "What? Inside the corpses? Could it be that there's something alive inside? Is it a zombie?" These people were facing a great enemy. These were the corpses of ancient experts. If they were to turn into zombies and come back to life, it would be incomparably terrifying. They didn't want such a thing to happen. However, things didn't go as they wished. The mountain of corpses suddenly split open, and then a few figures stood up. "Oh no, it's really turning into zombies!" Seeing this scene, the various sacred grounds cultivators felt their scalps go numb. Lin Xian and the others frowned. Armor appeared on their bodies, and light flashed in their eyes. They were ready to attack at any time. What made them heave a sigh of relief was that there were not many people who stood up, only 7 figures. However, these 7 figures didn't seem to be skeletons. They were wearing worn-out armor that looked very ancient. It was full of cracks, as if it would break at any time, but they were wearing it. This strange scene made everyone suck in a breath of cold air. In their hands they were holding sharp, broken blades. Some were bronze spears, and some were long spears. There were even long blades that were 2 to 3 meters long. These weren't ordinary items. Although they were broken and ancient, the aura they emitted shattered the void. Chapter 2449. What were those? Were they ancient people? They frowned and thought that they were zombies or that the bones had mutated. But now, it seemed that it was not the case. Could it be that they were Ian's soldiers? An elder of the Yi family frowned. Ian's soldiers. The others also had a change of expression. After Lin Xian heard this, he also frowned. He knew that this kind of thing was a very terrifying existence. Although they were dead, they had temporarily come back to life under certain circumstances. What was more terrifying was that these people might have retained their combat strength and divine abilities when they were alive. Once they attacked, it would be extremely terrifying. He did not expect that there would be Ian's soldiers in the ancient tomb of a saint. Looking at the murderous aura on their bodies, they were definitely not ordinary people. They must have been very powerful kings when they were alive. Buzz! 7 Ian soldiers stood there like statues with sharp blades in their hands. Gradually, a trace of sharpness appeared in their grayish-white eyes. Then, the surrounding death aura gathered towards their bodies. Roar! 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 Roars came from their mouths. The 7 Ian soldiers seemed to have come to life and slowly moved. Buzz! Among them, one of the Ian soldiers waved the long spear in his hand and stabbed forward. His target was the 5 Elements Palace. Because at this moment, the people of the 5 Elements Palace were the closest to the Ian soldiers. Courting death. The few young martial artists of the 5 Elements Palace roared. So what if they were Ian soldiers? How dare they attack the dead? They struck out with the power of the 5 elements and blasted forward. These few were all young geniuses. At this moment, they were absolutely terrifying when they attacked together. Boom! However, what happened next surprised them. All of their 5 elements' power was instantly pierced through. A long spear broke through the void and directly came in front of them. No! These people screamed, their faces were full of horror, and wanted to escape. Puff! Puff! Time seemed to have stopped. The 3 young geniuses of the 5 elements sect stiffened. Their bodies were pierced by a bronze spear. They were nailed in the void as if they were candied haws. Drip, drip. Blood dripped, making a muffled sound that made everyone's scalp tingle. So powerful! They were too shocked. These Ian soldiers were too terrifying. They killed 3 geniuses in an instant. What kind of method was this? They did not dare to imagine. Damn it, let's attack together. Kill them all. He absolutely could not allow them to absorb any more death energy. The elder of the Yi family roared. Although Leaf Dao Denier wasn't present, the elders and disciples of the Yi clan were still terrifying. They were the clan of the ancients, which was absolutely terrifying. Now that he had struck out, it was truly enough to cause the entire world to explode. Not only the Yi clan, but the Wavering Light's sacred land had also made a move. Other than that, the 5 Elements Palace, 4 Symbols Holy Grounds, Grand Xia Dynasty, 9 Li Dynasty, 9 Heavens Holy Ground, etc. Everyone attacked together, and a terrifying power spread out in all directions. Boom! Immortal Palace's people also took action. In an instant, the few Ian soldiers in front of them were submerged by the berserk energy. When the energy dissipated, the 7 Ian soldiers ceased to exist. Seeing this scene, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. The warriors from the Holy Land sneered. What kind of Ian soldiers are they? They have no power to fight back against us. That's right, there are so many of us. What can a mere 7 Ian soldiers do to us? These people threw their heads back and laughed. However, before they could finish laughing, a low voice suddenly sounded. An even colder aura appeared. Then, all around them, figures stood up one after another. They wore broken armor and held sharp blades in their hands. The cold aura on their bodies swept through the world, causing people to tremble. 1, 2, 3, the more they looked, the more frightened they became because at this moment, there were hundreds of Ian soldiers around them. Although they were not as numerous as them, the Ian aura they emitted was too terrifying. Moreover, it seemed that more Ian soldiers were awakening. Damn it! Run! This seems to be a place to hide corpses. Countless powerhouses were buried here. These people seemed to have been killed, and their resentment was very strong. Now that they were resurrected, who knew what crazy things they would do? Run! An elder of the Toba family roared crazily. The elders of the other families also changed their expressions. At this moment, no one dared to stay here and left one after another. However, among them, a few people from the myriad poison sect used black chains to shroud the ghost spirit wood. It seemed that they were reluctant to part with it. Not only them, but the people from the 9 heavens holy lands and 5 elements palace also charged toward the yin-shaped grass. However, Lin Xian was faster. He asked the little white monkey to snatch the yin-shaped grass. Little White's figure flashed and directly pulled out 3 yin-shaped grasses, then disappeared into the void. Ah! Damn monkey! I'm going to kill you! The people from the 5 elements palace and 9 heavens holy lands roared crazily. On the other side, the people from the myriad poison sect sneered. Because they had snatched 2 ghost spirit woods. Buzz! Crack! However, at this moment, one of the ghost spirit woods was strangely broken, and 2/3 of it disappeared into the void. Damn it, what happened? The people from the myriad poison sect were stunned. Ah! They roared crazily. Who is it? Come out! They naturally knew that someone was secretly snatching the ghost spirit woods. But what kind of method was this? Appearing out of thin air and snatching more than half of the ghost spirit woods. They did not even know who the enemy was. At the front, Lin Xian revealed a smile. The little white monkey held more than half of the purple ghost spirit woods and kept jumping. Lin Xian waved his hand and kept all these things into the black earth. Let's go! He quickly left with Shinjingqiu, Murong Qingqing, and the people from Immortal Palace. Boom! Boom! The corpse storage ground was too big. There was a long passage in front of them, and there were corpses on both sides, surrounded by endless resentment. At this moment, Yin soldiers crawled out of the corpses one after another. Only now did Lin Xian and the others realize that these Yin soldiers were too strange. The battle armor they were wearing wasn't real battle armor. Instead, it was formed from cold resentment through the power of some kind of life. Even their weapons were the same. It was as if the white bones of vengeful spirits were bound by some kind of powerful force in the armor, forcing them to fight. What kind of power was this? This kind of power was beyond their imagination. Soon, the army of Yin soldiers moved and scattered all the sacred ground sections. These forces were separated by countless Yin soldiers, and they could only fight for themselves. In an instant, a fierce battle broke out. Everyone fought with the Yin soldiers, and the battle was earth-shattering. However, no matter how they fought, they were at a disadvantage. These Yin soldiers were not living creatures, and they could condense after death. After the martial artists of the sacred ground and the geniuses of the great sects were killed, they could only die here. Therefore, for a moment, no one dared to continue fighting. They could only grit their teeth and escape. Chapter 2450. It was the same for Lin Xian and the rest. Lin Xian unleashed the Dragon Sword Realm, which enveloped everyone and transformed into an azure dragon. Inside, Xing Tian, elderly, the other elites, including Brother Murong, poured all their energy into the azure dragon. The divine dragon swung its tail, invincible. All the Yin soldiers in their way were sent flying. Their speed could be said to be extremely fast. It was the same for the Yi family. Countless geniuses and elders of the Yi family shone with golden light, which shot into the clouds and formed a golden giant. They sent the Yin soldiers flying. On the other side, the Wavering Light's sacred ground had the Wavering Light sage leading the way. The dragon pattern cauldron was above their heads, and tens of thousands of rays of aura hung down. The Yin soldiers in the sky were sent flying. The other sacred grounds and sects also joined forces and left quickly. These were not ordinary people. After the initial panic, they organized an effective counterattack. However, it didn't take long for Lin Xian and the others to slow down. Finally, they stopped. This was because there were 5 figures in front of them. These 5 figures were very similar to the Yin soldiers from before, but they were different. The armor on their bodies was more solid, and there were even ghostly inscriptions on it. 2 of them were even riding war horses. However, they were not living creatures. They were horses. They were formed by resentment. Damn it! These are not soldiers. They are generals. Their abilities are far above the soldiers. Sure enough, as soon as these 5 generals attacked, they beat everyone back repeatedly. Buzz! The dragon pattern cauldron vibrated and let out a dragon roar. Lin Xian's azure dragon shadow also roared into the sky. In an instant, a terrifying sound wave swept across the entire space. If they wanted to move forward, they had to kill these 5 generals. Elderly, Xing Tian, defend yourselves. Qingqing, Qiu'er, don't move. I'll go and kill him. Lin Xian's body swayed, and he rushed over. Elderly and the rest stayed where they were, fighting against the soldiers around them. On the other side, the wavering light sage also rushed over. On the Yi family's side, an elder of the Yi family attacked. Out of the 5 generals, there were only 2 left. In the Great Xia dynasty, a young man in white walked out. He was the prince of the Great Xia dynasty. At this moment, he also attacked one of the generals. Qiu'er, wait here. I'll deal with the last one. Murong Qingqing's body swayed, and charged the last general. 5 powerhouses against 5 generals. In an instant, the heavens and earth. However, this was the tomb of a sage after all. Such a violent attack actually did not cause any damage to the surrounding mountain walls. This made everyone amazed. Everyone knew that only a saint could do this. A saint's skills. Lin Xian leapt into the air and charged at a general in front of him. That general had a tall and straight figure. He wore a black battle armor with ice-cold runes flickering on it. A of you yang yu yus of you, sword of the fire. Lin Xian was the first to attack. A black flaming sword slashed down from the sky, and a vast aura surged out like waves. Evil beings were afraid of fire, so in Lin Xian's opinion, the sword of fire should be able to restrain it. However, the result was far beyond his expectations. The general was incomparably cold. He waved the black spear in his hand and thrust it forward. The black radiance was like a river of the underworld, meeting the attack head-on. The 2 of them exploded, releasing an aura of ice and fire. Soon, the sword of fire was blocked. Commander Yin struck out with his spear again. The terrifying spear light transformed into a black dragon, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It tore through the void and charged forward. Sword of water. Lin Xian's long sword swept horizontally, and the water that filled the sky trapped the black dragon. Earth sword. The earth split open as 3 stone swords shot out from the ground and charged towards the general. Boom! Boom! The sword of earth landed on the other party's body, releasing a sonorous sound that shook the heavens and earth, tearing apart the void. However, the opponent's black armor was very strange. Its defense was very strong, and it forcibly blocked the impact. Humph! Sky shattering! Seeing this scene, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He did not use the 5 elements sword again. Instead, he used the chaotic heaven destroyer sword. The void in front of him exploded, and an unparalleled force rushed towards the general, trying to tear his body apart. Bang! This time, it was finally effective. The general retreated 7 to 8 steps, and the black armor on his body exploded. Half of it was shattered, and half of his body was swallowed by the black hole. Lin Xian's pupils constricted, because he realized that there was nothing under the armor. There were no skeletons or corpses. What was going on? What exactly was this general? He was dumbfounded. Originally, he thought that there would at least be a skeleton or a rotten body inside. However, the situation was far beyond his expectations. However, what shocked him even more was yet to come. At this moment, the shattered armor was slowly recovering. The endless cold ghost chi in the surroundings gathered towards this side. Mysterious black runes formed and slowly healed. In the end, it was as good as new. Roar! The general let out an angry roar, shattering the void. The cold and powerful aura exploded again. Damn it, how could this be? Lin Xian frowned. He was not the only one. The great Xia Prince, the Alcade Sage, the Yi family elder, and Murong Qingqing were all in the same situation. They were all peerless experts. When they attacked, they injured the Yin general. However, the Yin general did not die. Instead, he absorbed the Yin qi and recovered. Could it not be killed? The five of them retreated and confronted the Yin general. They quickly discussed. Could it be that they could not be killed? Murong Qingqing frowned. The surrounding Holy Land martial artists who were fighting against the army of Yin soldiers had ugly expressions on their faces when they saw this scene. This was because not only were the five Yin generals unkillable, but the Yin soldiers around them were also unkillable. Even if they were destroyed, they would soon reassemble and crawl over. It was endless and made them feel hopeless. Impossible, there was nothing that could not die. Even a sage could fall. Needless to say, these Yin ghosts were nothing. The great Xia Prince said in a low voice. There must be a way, but we have not found it. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He had no choice but to activate his heavenly secret divine eyes. Soon, he said in a low voice. Attack its heart, its weakness. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the few of them turned cold. Originally, they wanted to attack its head because the vital point was usually the head. However, they did not expect Lin Xian to say that it was the heart. Although they had their doubts, they still nodded when they thought about what Lin Xian had done previously. They would attack its heart. Yi Tian, come here. The Yi family elder did not continue to attack. Instead, he called a young man over. This was because he felt that this was a good opportunity to train the Yi family's prodigy. Behind them, a young man flew over from the Yi family. This young man was very handsome. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his body was burly and full of power. As soon as he came, Yi Tian roared and his body emitted light, making crackling sounds. Chapter 2451. Yi Tian roared angrily as his body emitted light and crackled. The void beneath his feet instantly collapsed. This scene shocked everyone. This young man is so powerful. He seems to be no weaker than the saint. Kill! Yi Tianlu roared. Like a demonic god, he quickly rushed over. He threw out a punch as light bloomed. The roars of dragons and tigers were heard, causing heaven and earth to tremble. Boom! This punch was aimed at the Yin general's heart. However, the Yin general dodged quickly and his head exploded. However, it was useless. The shattered head slowly reassembled, and the armor returned to its original state. Seeing this, the Alcade sage, Murong Qingqing, and the prince of the great Xia dynasty's eyes lit up. Indeed, the vital point was not the head. From the looks of it, it should be in the heart. Thinking of this, they did not hesitate, and quickly charged forward. Yi Tian also attacked again. Lin Xian also held the ancient dragon abyss sword and exuded a terrifying sword Dao aura. The five Yin generals opposite him were obviously enraged. They attacked fiercely. Ghostly chi surrounded the sky and endless resentful spirits accompanied them. Whoosh! A black light tore through the void, and a Yin general appeared in front of Lin Xian. The black spear in his hand slashed down like a heavenly blade. The void shattered and split into two. Lin Xian's body turned cold, and he felt a sense of death. The Yin general's strength was even more powerful than before. However, so what? Lin Xian snorted and thousands of sword chi rushed out of his body to block the black spear. At the same time, his eyes were like a peerless divine sword that pierced through the void and pierced forward. Crack, crack, crack. Two streaks of sword light pierced through the Yin general's body. It was sent flying. Roar! The Yin general let out a furious roar. Ghostly chi surrounded the sky and tried to repair it. However, it did not succeed this time. The two streaks of sword light stabbed into its body and could not be erased. Not only that, the sword light was erasing the Yin chi on its body. What a terrifying sword chi! What kind of sword technique was that? Everyone was shocked. Even the prince of the great Xia dynasty, and the Alkid Saint were astonished by this scene. Lin Xian took a deep breath, his eyes flickering. Most people would have been killed by his two sword lights. The other party was actually fine. As expected, due to the fact that it wasn't a living being, it didn't feel any pain. Even if it was injured, its fighting prowess wouldn't fall. It was indeed troublesome. Buzz. On the surface of the ancient dragon abyss sword, a mysterious rune was unraveled, and the power of the sword chi exploded once again. Demon Sealing. Battle Song. Chaotic Pattern. Sky Shattering. The four ultimate moves were unleashed, and everything in front of him was instantly destroyed. The Yin general was beaten to the point of hovering between life and death. His body was shattered dozens of times. However, the place where his heart was still intact. Therefore, after a dozen times, his body was once again in perfect condition. However, the Yin chi in his body had decreased by more than half. Clearly, he was not unkillable. Every time he died, his Yin energy would be depleted. Even with the replenishment of Yin energy in the surroundings, it was impossible for him to return to his peak state in a short period of time. Roar! The Yin general roared in anger. His eyes shone with a cold light as Yin chi circled around his body. He charged over like a madman, and another fierce battle ensued. God Punisher! Lin Xian shouted coldly and unleashed the 5 ultimate moves of the chaotic Heaven Destroyer sword. Between heaven and earth, a mysterious sword light flashed and enveloped the Yin general in an instant. In the next moment, the Yin general's body was cut into hundreds of pieces. His heart, which was the most important part, was also pierced through by the sword. Roar! The Yin general let out an indignant roar. The black armor on his body began to disappear like smoke and quickly melted. Clang! A black bead fell from the sky. There was no corpse, only a black bead. Lin Xian frowned. He waved his hand and summoned the black bead in front of him. His eyes flickered as he looked at it carefully. He saw that the black bead was covered with mysterious patterns. They looked like strange ancient characters. He couldn't understand what they meant. Lin Xian unleashed the great dragon sword soul and unleashed countless sword chi to envelop the black bead. Then, he put it away. He would study it in the future. Anyway, with the great dragon sword soul, he could obliterate everything. The black bead wouldn't be able to do anything. After doing all this, Lin Xian looked around. The other 4 battles were almost over. The dragon-patterned cauldron above the Alkid Saint's head opened and closed. The terrifying power blasted the Yin general's back. The prince of the skyscraper mansion had an extremely sharp golden sword in his hand. Yi Tian was like a god of war. His fist technique was unparalleled. Murong Qingqing was like a fairy. There was a lotus flower under her feet, surrounded by countless petals. She was exceptionally beautiful. However, she was also extremely terrifying. In the end, the other 4 Yin generals were also killed. That was great! Seeing this scene, the surrounding martial artists all heaved a sigh of relief. They blasted away the Yin soldiers around them and quickly advanced. Boom! They had just advanced 1,000 meters when a black fist suddenly appeared in front of them. It crushed the void and crashed toward them. The Yi family and the others were walking in front, so the fist directly enveloped them. Yi Tian roared and punched out. Bang! The two collided and made an earth-shattering sound. Then, Yi Tian was sent flying. There was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He was injured. How was that possible? The Yi family martial artists were shocked and could not believe it. The surrounding people also sucked in a breath of cold air. They all stopped in their tracks and looked ahead in bewilderment. Although Yi Tian was not a saint or a sacred body, he was a young prodigy of the Yi family. His strength was absolutely terrifying. He was definitely not weaker than a saint. Coupled with the Yi family's bloodline and the terrifying body tempering technique, no one would be able to compete with him in close combat. However, the black fist in front of them directly injured Yi Tian. Who exactly was that? They dared not imagine. Lin Xian, the Prince of Great Xia, the Alkid Saint, and the other prodigies also frowned. Whoosh! Their eyes were red as they looked ahead. The void in front of them was torn apart by a pair of large black hands. Then, a figure walked out. The figure was surrounded by endless black runes. There was even a nether river flowing under his feet. Yin King! An elder of the Yi family narrowed his eyes. He did not expect that in addition to the Yin soldiers and Yin generals, there was also a Yin King. The Yin generals were already so terrifying. They did not dare to imagine how powerful the Yin King was. Needless to say, he was definitely stronger than a saint. Otherwise, he would not be able to send Yi Tian flying with one punch. The Yin King was not wearing armor. He was wearing an ancient robe. It was also an ancient item. Some parts of it were tattered. His skin was dry and black. It was very sturdy, like black gold. He had a body. Lin Xian frowned. He realized that this was not the same as the Yin soldiers and Yin generals. Previously, they were only wrapped in armor but did not have a body. However, the one in front of him obviously had a body. Chapter 2452. Boom! Just as they were confused and discussing, the Yin King in front of them made his move. He slapped out with his palm, and the nether river under his feet surged. It was incomparably roaring, like a black ocean surging over. It was about to swallow everyone. Quick, defend! An elder from the Wavering Light's sacred ground exclaimed. These people did not dare to be careless and attacked one after another. They collided with the black nether river. In the sky, intense energy exploded, and one black hole after another appeared. Finally, they managed to block the terrifying palm. However, the elders' faces were ugly. This Yin King was too terrifying. He actually retained the divine ability from when he was alive. They could tell that the palm from before was an ancient technique. 1,000 waves palm. The palm was like thousands of overlapping waves. It was very powerful. Humph! The Wavering Light Saint snorted coldly, and Yi Tian's eyes lit up. I don't believe that I can't defeat him. Let's attack together. Lin Xian pulled out the ancient dragon abyss sword again and took a step forward. At the same time, Murong Qingqing beside him also came out. Xin Jingqiu also wanted to go up, but she thought about her inexperience and decided not to. She could only cheer from the side. Brother Lin Xian, Sister Qingqing, you can do it! On the other side, the Wavering Light Saint Yi Tian and the great Xiao Prince also walked out. The 5 peerless geniuses surrounded the Yin King in front of them. The surrounding people kept retreating, creating a battlefield. They knew that an earth-shattering battle would erupt. At this moment, everyone was silently watching. Because this was a peerless battle. The 5 peerless geniuses were all saints. How spectacular would the scene be when the 5 of them attacked? The young disciples of the various sacred grounds were extremely excited. Even the elders were full of anticipation. Whoosh! The Yin King in front of them did not speak, but his body emitted an incomparably terrifying aura. Buzz! Lin Xian and the other 4 tensed up. They felt a great pressure pressing down from the sky. It was as if a starry sky was about to tear their bodies apart. Boom! The nether river under his feet suddenly spun like a black tornado, sweeping in all directions. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian and the other 4 tried to defend themselves. However, the water droplets flew in all directions even though the Styx River was torn apart. Some of the Holy Land martial artists were touched by these water droplets and immediately screamed. They were actually killed by a drop of water. Corpses fell to the ground one after another, and blood dyed the ground red. When the surrounding people saw this scene, their faces were filled with horror. They retreated as if they had gone mad. At the same time, they activated their armor and their strongest defense. Damn it, how could it be so terrifying? They screamed. Initially, he had thought that he would be able to kill the other party with the help of the 5 geniuses. But now, it seemed that the situation was far beyond their expectations. A single drop of the black nether river beneath his feet could kill a genius from a sacred ground. This method was too terrifying. Even the elders of the Holy Lands had ugly expressions on their faces. They set up layers upon layers of formations that enveloped everyone. Immortal Palace. Elderly and Xing Tian also took Shinjingqiu and the other martial practitioners and retreated quickly. Xing Tian's face was solemn as he said in a deep voice. This Yin King was too terrifying. When he was alive, he must have been a world-shaking peerless figure. Damn it! Seeing this scene, Lin Xian snorted coldly. The wavering light saint and the others also had gloomy expressions. They did not expect the Yin King to be so terrifying. In the next moment, they decisively made their move. Sky shattering. Lin Xian swung his sword, and the integrated void completely exploded. The Nether River was swallowed by the spatial crack. In the distance, the people from the Holy Land heaved a sigh of relief after stopping the Nether River's attack. The other saints also made their move. The Yin King roared, and the air around his body surged into the sky. The terrifying power made everyone's scalp tingle. A cold murderous intent shot into the sky. Humph! Lin Xian swung the Dragon Source ancient sword, and sword chi erupted from his body. He used the God's sword technique again. In the sky, the cold ghost chi was cut into pieces. Dragon Elephant Divine Fist. At this moment, Yi Tian also made his move. His fist seemed to be able to overturn the universe. With a punch, the void collapsed, and a violent force surged forward. It was as if a dragon was roaring. Sacred Light Technique. The Wavering Light Saint used the Wavering Light Sacred Ground's great ability. The sky full of light danced and rushed forward. Golden Sword. The great Xia Prince's aura shone brightly. The golden sword in his hand slashed down mercilessly. It was like a peerless heavenly sword, splitting the sky in half. Flying Flower. Murong Qingqing stepped on a jade lotus, and countless flowers danced around him. They formed a long sword and slashed forward. The 5 Supreme Saints' attacks completely destroyed the void in front of them. Was it over? Behind them, the Holy Land's martial artists watched with rapt attention. Hee! In front of them, a disdainful sneer came from the sky full of energy. This voice made everyone's scalp tingle. Everyone looked forward. They saw that the violent energy was extinguished by a large black palm. Boom! The large black palm did not stop. It turned into 5 palm prints and slapped toward Lin Xian and the other 4. It was as if 5 dark clouds were pressing down with the power of 10,000 das. Lin Xian and the other 4 looked solemn. They felt that the blood in their bodies was about to freeze. Obviously, this palm was too terrifying. Although it was just a palm shadow, they could not take it head on. Water Sword. Brilliant light shrouded the sky. Wang Jinjian. Dragon Antagonist. Water Moon Lotus Platform. Lin Xian and the other 4 unleashed their ultimate skills again and attacked. In the sky, the sound of an intense collision could be heard. The 5 large black palms were mercilessly torn apart. The terrifying divine ability once again charged towards the Yin King. Whoosh! At this moment, 2 more black palms slapped over and destroyed the 5 super skills in the sky. In the sky, a terrifying explosion could be heard. A storm swept in all directions, and the void collapsed. The entire passageway was shaking. Lin Xian and the other 4 retreated, but the Yin King stood in the air like a demon king. Thunderbolts rumbled in all directions. He was not injured at all. Damn it, how could it be? How could he be so strong? Who exactly was he? Could it be that he was an invincible king? The people from the Holy Land were horrified. Even the elders had serious expressions on their faces. They even wanted to attack together and kill Yin Wang quickly. However, they did not do so because Lin Xian and the other 4 had attacked again. Buzz! Lin Xian's great dragon sword soul circulated crazily in his body. He displayed the 5 elements sword technique to the extreme. The power of the 5 elements flashed in the sky. Those sword lights were filled with killing intent. Boom! 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 The sword lights were extremely sharp. They were like 5 heavenly swords that descended from the sky and completely enveloped Yin Wang. Ha! Yin Wang was forced to retreat. The ghost chi on his body surged rapidly. What a powerful sword technique! Everyone behind was shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian's sword technique to become stronger. Mountain embracing seal! Yi Tian also roared and crossed his arms. Chapter 2453. The shadow of a huge mountain appeared in his arms and quickly condensed in the sky. This mountain was too terrifying. It was like a demonic mountain. It was covered with rocks and lush trees. The moment it appeared, it crushed the void and headed towards the king of Yin. Ancient technique, mountain embracing seal. At this moment, it was used by Yi Tian. It was really powerful. Furious dragon sword technique. The prince of the great Xia dynasty held the golden sword in his hand, surrounded by the aura of a true dragon. He struck out rays of golden sword light, which turned into a roaring dragon in the sky. Holy light ball! The wavering light saint raised his hand and struck out a terrifying golden light ball. Although it was only the size of a fist, it was too terrifying. The power on it made even the elder's eyelids twitch wildly. This was the ultimate technique of the wavering light's sacred land. Catoptric deflection. Murong Qingqing used the jade pool's great technique. 3 mirrors appeared in the sky. They transformed into 3 half-moons and formed a triangle. The void was mercilessly cut open in an instant. The great techniques of the 5 people once again enveloped the Yin King. Bang! Bang! The Yin King was beaten until he was forced to retreat. His body was filled with ghost chi. Even his cold aura had weakened a lot. Seeing this scene, everyone was extremely excited. But soon, the expressions of the elders turned ugly again. This was because they found that although the Yin King was suppressed, his body was not damaged at all. Even his robe was not damaged at all. How could the other party's defense be so strong? Could it be that he was really an invincible king? They were extremely shocked because the strength of Lin Xian and the other 4 was definitely at the level of a peerless mighty figure. Moreover, they were very terrifying among the peerless mighty figures. If the 5 of them joined forces, even a peerless mighty figure would not be able to resist. Unless they had surpassed the realm of a peerless mighty figure and reached the realm of an invincible king. If that was the case, then they would be in trouble. An invincible king was far beyond the realm of a peerless mighty figure. It was impossible to defeat him. Don't worry, he shouldn't be an invincible king. The elder of the wavering light's sacred land shook his head. If he was really an invincible king, his aura would be completely different. His current aura was still at the realm of a peerless mighty figure. Thinking about it, he must have a special divine ability. Or there was something wrong with that ancient Taoist robe. Hearing that he was not an invincible king, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, as long as they weren't invincible king tiers, they could be defeated. He believed that with the strength of the 5 geniuses, it was still possible for them to kill the other party. 1. In front, Yin King stopped retreating. He clapped his palms together and tore apart the energy storm. At the same time, his turbid eyes suddenly lit up with a white light. 2 white flames were emitted and pulsated. It was extremely strange. It looked like a flame, but it was emitting a cold aura. Spectral bone fire. Damn it, he actually managed to condense such a flame. Could it be that he could still cultivate? Seeing this scene, the faces of the surrounding elders turned incomparably ugly. Lin Xian and the other 4 were also shocked. That was because the impact of the 2 white flames on them was too great. A deathly threat instantly arose in their hearts. They knew that this was an extremely terrifying flame. They definitely couldn't resist it head-on. They had to think of a way to avoid it. Their opponent's white flames posed a great threat to them. 1. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the dragon sword domain appeared, completely enveloping him. Pung pung pung. A low sound rang out. The white flames that filled the sky collided with the dragon sword domain, emitting the sound of ice and snow colliding. Fortunately, the dragon sword domain was formed by the great dragon sword soul. It was extremely terrifying and could destroy everything. Therefore, although the white flames were terrifying, they were unable to break through the dragon sword domain. However, the opponent's powerful strength made Lin Xian feel even more pressured. On the other side, Murong Qingqing, Yi Tian, the great Xia Prince, and the Alcade Sage all used their ultimate skills to block the terrifying spectral bone fire. Everyone's face was solemn and abnormally ugly. When the martial artists and elders of the various sacred grounds saw this scene, they were also extremely shocked. Their scalps went numb. The 5 geniuses were actually suppressed. This was something that they couldn't believe. These were 5 geniuses, all of whom were sages. Any one of them could suppress the crowd. But now, the 5 of them were actually unable to deal with Yin King in front of them. What kind of cultivation realm had Yin King reached? What kind of strength was he? They didn't dare to imagine. This person must have been an extremely terrifying peerless figure when he was alive. Many of the elders were shocked. Whoosh! Just as they were discussing, the white flames that filled the sky also pounced towards them. These people were so frightened that their scalps went numb. Hurry up and defend! They all raised their battle armors to resist. At the same time, the turrets, shields, and all kinds of lights lit up. But it was useless. In an instant, many people let out miserable cries. All of their defenses were instantly melted by the white flames. Many experts' bodies melted and were burned clean, not even leaving behind ashes. Damn it, retreat! Everyone screamed and retreated frantically. They were extremely frightened. Only now did they know what kind of pressure Lin Xian, Alcade, and the Alcade Sage were under. This was way too terrifying. So many experts were killed in an instant. The power of the white flames was truly terrifying. Elder, should we go and help? A martial artist from the Yi family asked. They looked ahead and were a little worried. The Yi family's elder's eyes flickered as he shook his head slightly. There was no need, their lives were not in danger yet. Not only the Yi family, but the people of the Nacrolite Sacred Ground, Immortal Palace, and the Great Xia Empire also didn't make a move. They knew that the strength of these geniuses was even more terrifying than they had imagined. They were afraid that these people had not used their full strength yet. In front, Lin Xian and the other 4 blocked the white flames and began to counterattack. Their strength gradually increased. Lin Xian's sword chi soared into the sky. The huge sword chi was like a divine pillar that pierced the sky, piercing through the 9 heavens. The terrifying light was so dazzling that everyone could not open their eyes. Not only was it spectacular, but it was also extremely sharp. The surrounding white flames were actually extinguished by the sword chi. This scene shocked everyone. This guy was so powerful. He was actually able to extinguish such terrifying flames. Look, the Alcade Sage has also made his move. Everyone exclaimed. In front, the Alcade Sage's dragon-patterned cauldron was above his head, and thousands of auras drooped down. He waved his hand to activate the dragon-patterned cauldron, and the 2 dragons on it roared. Countless rays of light scattered down, shattering the surrounding white flames. The great Xia Prince's body was surrounded by the aura of the Tao of Dragon, and the golden sword in his hand was even more powerful. A vacuum area appeared beside him. Ah! Yi Tian's aura was violent, and his black hair fluttered. A huge golden giant completely enveloped him. The golden giant walked in the white flames, not afraid of the terrifying flames at all. The raging flames surrounded him, but they could not hurt him at all. Chapter 2454. The golden giant walked in the white flames, not afraid of the terrifying flames at all. The raging flames surrounded him, but they could not hurt him at all. Dragon Elephant Divine Fist. He pushed the golden giant and punched out one terrifying fist after another, shattering the void. Countless flames were suppressed in an instant. Murong Qingqing stepped on a lotus flower, countless petals dancing around her. Her hands formed a seal, forming a blue bottle above her head. A stream of silver water descended and surrounded her, extinguishing the white flames around her. The 5 prodigies walked quickly in the white flames and charged forward. In an instant, they arrived near the Yin King. The Yin King roared angrily. He felt provoked. Whoosh! The aura on his body erupted again, and it was incomparably sharp. The extremely cold aura made people tremble. How terrifying! Everyone was shocked. They did not know that a group of people had also stopped in the passage behind them. They were Yen Ryu and the others from the Demon King Palace. They had already seen light in front of them, and wanted to speed up. However, at this moment, an earth-shattering aura suddenly came from ahead. It made everyone stop in their tracks. How terrifying! Whose aura was this? Could there be such a powerhouse in the human race? The faces of the martial artists from the Demon King Palace turned pale, and their bodies trembled. Yen Ryu and Huitiendu's expressions were solemn. It was obvious that this aura was a great threat to them. The elders also frowned. Their gazes were like divine lamps that streaked across the void and looked into the distance. They were extremely shocked. It was not a human. The others also saw it. This distance was nothing to them. Moreover, there was no array formation. They could see the situation in front of them clearly in an instant. Soon, they sucked in a breath of cold air. Een King! Een soldiers! Damn it! How could there be so many Een soldiers? There was actually a Een King! They were about to go crazy. Didn't this kind of thing only exist in legends? This was probably a place to hide corpses. Look at the corpses on both sides. Something must have happened to kill all these people here. Among them, there was no lack of powerful ancient powerhouses. An elder's eyes flickered. Huitiendu looked around. There were human corpses everywhere. There were no corpses of us demons. Let's not go up first. Let's wait here for those people to deal with the Een King before we go over. The elder suggested, and the others nodded in agreement. There was nothing he could do about it. The aura ahead was simply too terrifying. Yenryu's eyes flickered, but she didn't say anything. However, her gaze was fixed on a figure in the distance. In front of him, Lin Xian and the other four geniuses were all using their trump cards to get rid of the Een King. Heaven-destroying finger! Yi Tian roared. He stretched out a finger and pressed it forward. Boom! A gigantic golden finger appeared between the heaven and earth, crushing down on the void like a huge golden mountain pressing down from the sky. This golden finger was incomparably huge, and there were countless mysterious patterns on it. It was as if it could really destroy the world. Hand of Heaven! Murong Qingqing waved her hand. Her palm was like white jade, extremely sharp, and carried with it a wave of immortal Dao runes. It was as if the palm of a deity was rapidly approaching. This was a great divine ability that was extremely terrifying. It was rumored that it could shatter everything. Divine Dragon 7 steps. The royal family of the Great Xia also made their move. The phantom of a golden dragon appeared beneath his feet, and with every step he took, heaven and earth crumbled. This was a terrifying pace. Sure enough, with every step he took, the Een King retreated a little. Mixed Yuan's sacred light technique. The Alcade Saint Sun shot out a terrifying light. Behind him, 108 godly demons circled around him. He looked like a god. This ray of light was simply too sharp. How old was the elder that felt his scalp tingle? 5 elements sword, 5 elements as one. Lin Xian did not hold back. He combined the 5 elements swords into a divine sword and directly charged over. The power of the 5 elements surrounded it, and coupled with the power of the great dragon sword soul, it was truly terrifying. Boom! Boom! The Een King was finally beaten back. The white flames on his body and the terrifying Een Chi had dimmed by a lot. It would be extinguished at any moment. That's great. I've finally suppressed it. When the cultivators of the sacred grounds saw this scene, they all cheered. In front, Lin Xian and the other 4 were also chasing after the Een King. Lin Xian held the Dragon Source ancient sword in his hand and swung it. Every sword light contained a dense power of the 5 elements. Pun! 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 The long sword slashed on the Een King, and the sharp sword light shot into the sky. Murong Qingqing and the other 3 also charged over. The 5 experts surrounded the Yin King. God Punisher. On the 30th move, Lin Xian changed his sword technique. A sharp sword light, like a sword from the gods, cut through the void and pierced towards Yin King's throat. Puff! The Yin King roared and his body spun. At the same time, the white flames and terrifying Yin Qi in front of him condensed into 2 powerful defenses. Clang! The terrifying defenses were broken, and the Dragon Source ancient sword pierced towards the Yin King. However, it did not pierce the Yin King's head. Instead, it left a terrifying sword mark on his body. Black blood flowed out instantly, and it was incomparably smelly. Lin Xian and the other 4 frowned. Roar! An angry roar sounded. The Yin King was furious. He had never been injured before. Pun! Another terrifying attack on the Yin King's head sent him flying again. There was even more black blood on his body. The Yin King struggled to stand up, wanting to counterattack. The mixed Yuan sacred light technique hit him again, sending him flying. Roar! 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 The Yin King charged over like a madman. In the sky, the hand of heaven slapped down mercilessly, sending him flying. The heaven-destroying finger landed on his body, causing cracks to appear on his ancient clothes. His body was sent flying. After a series of attacks, the Yin King was severely injured, but he was not dead yet. Not only that, he became even more violent. Whoosh! The Yin King pulled out a long black saber from the void. It was more than 10 meters long. Ghostji surrounded it as if it was pulled out from the world of death. Whoosh! 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 5 saber lights were shot out. They were incomparably black, like the river Styx. They fell from the sky with dense death energy. Not good, it's the death demonic saber. Disperse! The great Xia Prince exclaimed. The others also put up their defenses and tried to dodge. Lin Xian frowned. Why did the death demonic saber sound so similar to the saber technique that Hui Dao used? That's right, it was indeed an ancient saber technique. The death demonic saber was a saber technique that belonged to the demonic saber. It was extremely terrifying. The Yin King definitely retained some of his divine abilities when he was alive. The previous 1000 Waves Palm and the current death demonic saber were probably his best techniques when he was alive. The great Xia Prince explained at the side. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded in understanding. As they spoke, their bodies drew thousands of afterimages in the air. It was impossible to tell which one was real. However, the death demonic saber was too terrifying. The black saber light enveloped the entire space, destroying all the afterimages. Chapter 2455. The death demonic saber was too terrifying. The black saber radiance covered the entire space, destroying all the afterimages. Humph! Clang! A saber radiance slashed at the Alcate Saint, but was blocked by the dragon pattern replica cauldron. Another saber radiance slashed at Murong Qingqing, but was blocked by the lotus jade platform under Murong Qingqing's feet. The third saber radiance was blocked by Yi Tian's golden giant. The prince of the great Xia dynasty used the divine dragon steps to dodge the attack. In the end, only Lin Xian was left. Lin Xian did not dodge, but rushed forward directly. The ancient dragon abyss sword in his hand slashed the void and collided with the death demonic saber. The collision of the two caused thunderous sounds to be heard. Countless cracks appeared between heaven and earth, and black lightning fell from the sky. The energy was like waves, slapping in all directions. Is this guy crazy? What is he trying to do? Does he want to fight the Yin King alone? When the surrounding people saw this scene, they exclaimed in surprise. The martial artists of the Immortal Palace were also worried. No, the young master seems to want the Yin King to use the Death Saber technique. Xingtian frowned. Elder Li's eyes flickered. It seemed to be the case. The Death Demonic Saber technique was cultivated by Hui Dao, but it was not complete. Now, the Immortal Palace Master saw the complete Death Demonic Saber technique. He must want the Yin King to use it completely. Could it be that he wanted to restore this saber technique? Xing Tian also took a deep breath. Not only were the two of them shocked, but the elders and experts of the various immortal palaces were also shocked. They naturally noticed Lin Xian's intention. But soon, some people sneered. An elder of the Five Elements Palace sneered. This kid is too greedy. Although the death demonic saber technique is an ancient saber technique, it is extremely terrifying. But it is not so easy to master. Yes, an elder of the Nine Heavens Sacred Ground also snorted. This is a heaven-class cultivation technique. So what if you see it once? It is impossible to use the essence and power of the death demonic saber. One must have the corresponding cultivation technique and circulation route to use the death demonic saber. Who does this guy think he is? Does he want to restore the ancient saber technique? The people from the 10,000 Lightning Holy Land also sneered. Up ahead, the Yaoguang sage, the great Xia prince, and Yi Tian also frowned. Murong Qingqing, on the other hand, looked worried. After blocking the death demonic blade, they also quickly rushed forward, ready to kill the enemy. This was because they did not think that Lin Xian would be able to gain anything from it. Brother Lin, use your final trump card. The prince of the great Xia dynasty said in a deep voice. Good. Lin Xian nodded. His eyes suddenly burst with an incomparably sharp light, and the sword chi on his body rose again. One dragon after another appeared in the sky, letting out loud dragon roars. At this moment, everyone was shocked and their expressions changed. The members of the royal family were especially terrified. No way, this is the aura of the Tao of Dragons. How could he have the aura of the Tao of Dragons? Furthermore, it was so terrifying. It was even related to swordsmanship. They were all dumbfounded. The other party was not a member of the imperial family, so how could he know this kind of cultivation technique? The prince of the great Xia dynasty was also surprised. However, he quickly regained his senses. He used the divine dragon's 7 steps to the extreme, and the last step came down from the sky. It was so powerful that it directly shattered the entire void. The death demonic blade's radiance was shattered, and King Yin retreated. Whoosh! Lin Xian made his move. A dragon's roar and a sword's cry rang out. The terrifying dragon-shaped sword shadow, the power of the 5 elements, and the chaotic heaven destroyer sword rushed over together. Boom! The power of this sword was too terrifying, and it directly destroyed a large number of the death demonic blades. Between heaven and earth, the sword chi rushed in all directions, and no one could open their eyes. The Yaoguang sage and Murong Qingqing also used their final trump cards. Thousands of rays of light shrouded the front, and the terrifying energy kept bombarding. After a long time, the bright light in the sky disappeared. In front, the storm also gradually subsided. Everyone looked forward carefully. They wanted to know what happened to King Yin. Great, he was killed. Many warriors of the sacred land of life cheered because they found that King Yin was lying on the ground, motionless, and no longer breathing. The white flame in his eyes had disappeared, and the yin qi on his body had also disappeared. He became a corpse again. However, the elders of the sacred land gasped. After such a terrifying attack, King Yin's body was not completely destroyed, and only a few wounds appeared. It was too horrifying. But fortunately, King Yin was killed. Sure enough, when King Yin died, the surrounding Yin soldiers and Yin generals also quickly retreated. They entered the corpse one after another and lay down again. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, and they were ecstatic. Great, they finally chased away those Yin soldiers. Lin Xian and the other 4 also returned to their respective camps with a sway of their bodies. Young master! Palace master! Seeing Lin Xian return, the people of the Immortal Palace were also very excited because their palace master was too handsome. Xinjingqiu was so excited that she waved her pink fists. It's not good to stay here for long. Let's go quickly, Lin Xian said. Then, he led the group forward quickly. The people of the other sacred lands also left quickly. In the passage behind, the people of the Demon King Palace saw this scene and also said, Let's go. They also followed closely behind. Otherwise, they would be in trouble if the Een's soldiers resurrected after the other party left. They quickly moved their bodies and followed after him. When the people from the Demon King Palace appeared, the people from the various holy lands and sects frowned, because they felt a new force joining them. In an instant, countless eyes looked over. Lin Xian also turned his head. He was stunned because he saw Yan Ryu. However, when he saw the strangely shaped cultivators that resembled demons beside the other party, he couldn't help but frown. Elderly said, "Palace Master, they are from the Demon King Palace." Demon King Palace. It was a sacred land in the southern mountains. Most of them were related to the demon race, but they were basically half-demons or the descendants of mutated species. Most of these people knew the demon race's great magical powers and were abnormally terrifying. Moreover, their physiques were very strong and were not weaker than the martial artists of the Four Symbols Sacred Lands. They were actually here too! Many people from the Sacred Lands exclaimed. They did not notice the Demon King Palace before and thought that they did not come. They did not expect them to be following behind. The friends of the Demon King Palace were very free. An elder from the Dian's Sacred Lands snorted. "You want us to lead the way while you reap without sowing?" There was no such thing in the world. The people of the Five Elements Palace also darkened their faces. The eyes of the others flickered. They were also not very friendly to the newcomers of the Demon King Palace. Firstly, they were humans, and the other party was a half-demon with the bloodline of the demon race. Naturally, the Sacred Lands saw them as aliens. Moreover, the other party was too cunning. They followed behind them and reaped the benefits without suffering any harm. This made the Sacred Lands very unhappy. Chapter 2456. Humph! This is the tomb of the demon race's saint. How dare you humans come in? At this moment, the Demon King Palace's martial artists also roared. Hearing this, the other sacred grounds frowned. Demon Saint's tomb? They didn't think so. Who told you that this was the tomb of the Demon Saint? An elder of the Nine Heavens Sacred Grounds said with a cold expression. That's right. Look at this place, it doesn't look like the tomb of the demon race at all. This is obviously the tomb of the human race's saint. Bullshit. The gate at the beginning was written in the language of the demon race. How dare you say that this is not the tomb of the demon race? The Demon King Palace's martial artists couldn't take it any more and roared. Even scales began to appear on some parts of their bodies. Terrifying demon chi spread out from their bodies. Alright, stop arguing. It's not good to stay here for long. Let's leave first. The Yi family's people stood out. The Wavering Light's Sacred Grounds elder also said, Let's leave first. With that, they led their disciples and walked forward. Seeing this, the other sacred grounds left one after another. Indeed, who knew if those Yin soldiers would come again? It was better to leave first. Many people snorted coldly and looked at the Demon King Palace with cold gazes. The people of the Demon King Palace also glared. Palace Master, let's go. Elderly asked. Yes. Lin Xian nodded, but he didn't move immediately. Instead, he looked into the distance. He looked at Yan Ryu. What a coincidence, we meet again. Yes, I didn't expect to see you here. Yan Ryu also smiled. Her smile stunned everyone around her. Even those Holy Land martial artists who were hostile to the monster emperor before couldn't help but gulp at this moment. What a beautiful woman! Who is this person? Is she the saintess of the Demon King Palace? They didn't know, but she was definitely not ordinary. The young man beside her was the saintess of the Demon King Palace. How did this kid know someone from the Demon King Palace? They looked at Lin Xian with a puzzled expression. Even the people from the Immortal Palace were surprised. Palace Master? Elderly looked at him with a puzzled gaze. Lin Xian smiled. Alright, let's go. He glanced at Yan Ryu again, and then walked forward with Shinjingqiu, Murong Qingqing, and the others from Immortal Palace. Ryu, who is this brat? Hua Tiandu frowned as he watched Ling Xian and the others leave. There was a cold gleam in his eyes. An old friend, Yenryu said indifferently. She didn't say anything else. Hearing this, Huatiandu frowned even more. Old friend? How could the other party have an old friend? The other party's old friend should also be a member of their demon group. Why would it have such a strange relationship with a human boy? Go and find out who this Brad is and what his identity is. Huatiandu sent a sound transmission to the people beside him. Whoosh! The figures of the three experts from the Demon King Palace behind him flashed and disappeared in an instant. This scene was naturally captured by Yenryu, but she did not say anything. Soon, the people from the Demon Monarch Palace also walked forward. After leaving the place where the Een soldiers were, the Great Hall appeared in front of them again. This time, the Great Hall was clearly divided into many areas, and each area seemed to have an ancient aura. There was something. Seeing this scene, the eyes of the martial artists from the various sacred grounds lit up. They moved quickly. The Great Hall was so big that it was unimaginable. Therefore, these martial artists could not help but speed up. There were fragments here. Not long after, a cry of surprise was heard. One of them was holding a broken shadow in his hand. It seemed to be a fragment of a weapon, and it was very broken. One could tell at a glance that it was very old. However, everyone was extremely excited. Because there were Dao patterns on the weapon. This was definitely something good. These Dao patterns were passed down from ancient times. If they could comprehend them and engrave them on their weapons, their power would definitely increase exponentially. Therefore, at this moment, everyone went crazy. They quickly searched the surroundings. Peacock, elderly, bring some people with you, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Soon, Peacock and Elderly led the martial artists from the Immortal Palace behind them to search the secret rooms. Xing Tian stayed beside Lin Xian. Xin Jingqiu and Murong Qingqing also stayed there. Big brother Lin Xian, let's go take a look too. Xin Jingqiu was also very excited. Okay. Lin Xian smiled and nodded. The group also walked forward. Although there were only 4 of them, the strength of the 4 of them was simply too powerful. 3 saints, 1 super expert, and the Crimson Dragon were enough to fight against thousands of troops. They're talking about that woman again. I'm not going in. Xin Jingqiu looked at the figure in front of her and pouted. She was very unhappy. She pulled Lin Xian back. Big brother Lin Xian, don't go in either. You little girl, are you jealous? Lin Xian smiled and pinched Xin Jingqiu's little face. Xin Jingqiu was very unhappy. Yes, I'm angry. It turned out that in a secret room not far away, Yenryu and the others were standing there. Xin Jingqiu was very jealous when she saw Lin Xian and Yenryu's expressions. However, Murong Qingqing, who was standing on the side, knew something. She asked, Big brother Xian, is this Yenryu really your old friend? It should be close. I just don't know what her identity is now. What identity can she have? She must be a demon. Didn't you see her with the people from the Demon King Palace? Chior, don't talk nonsense. Murong Qingqing shook her head. Oh, okay. Xin Jingqiu was unwilling, but she didn't say anything. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and didn't go in immediately. Because he realized that there was a conflict between the people from the Demon King Palace and the Sacred Ground. The people from the Demon King Palace were from the 5 Elements Palace. The martial artist from the 5 Elements Palace snorted. People from the Demon King Palace, get out! This place belongs to the 5 Elements Palace. Get out? Your 5 Elements Palace is too arrogant. You actually dare to show off in front of our Demon Phoenix Palace? Could it be that you want to die? The experts from the Demon King Palace shouted coldly. One of the elders even snorted coldly. This is the ancient tomb of our demon saint. The ones who should get out are you humans. Demon Saint's ancient tomb? What a joke! Don't flatter yourself. What kind of place is this? Does it show the aura of the demon race? This is clearly the ancient tomb of our human race's saint. Look at these ancient ruins, do you think they belong to your demon race? Other than you demons, I can't see any other demon race here. You humans always know how to quibble. However, my Demon King Palace will not be afraid of you. If you want to start a war, then fight. A burly man stood out. His body was covered in a bronze light, and he had 2 bull horns on his head. His voice was like muffled thunder, causing the air to tremble. Chapter 2457. Let's fight then. Why should I be afraid of you? The people of the 5 Elements Palace did not back down. No matter what, they were still a peerless sect. How could they be afraid of these demons? Humph, go to hell. A disciple of the 5 Elements Palace attacked. It was a young man. He punched out, and countless stone hands appeared in the sky, blasting towards the people of the Demon Imperial Palace. Courting death. The people of the Demon Imperial Palace were also furious. The other party actually dared to attack them. He was really courting death. At this moment, Huatiandu and Yanryu did not attack. The elders of the Demon Imperial Palace also did not attack. The bronze bull who spoke before made his move. Boom! He stomped his foot and swung his bull head. His 2 horns suddenly enlarged, turning into dozens of meters and directly smashing into the void. Boom! 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 He smashed all the stone hands in the sky into pieces. Not only that, but its sharp horns also charged forward. Boom! The disciple of the 5 Elements Palace who attacked was sent flying. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood, and many of his bones were broken. What 5 Elements Palace? Trash. If you dare to be arrogant again, don't blame me for starting a massacre. The Oxhead's voice was cold and carried boundless killing intent. Courting death. Another expert walked out of the 5 Elements Palace. This was a woman with a beautiful appearance, and wearing colorful clothes. At this moment, her jade lotus was cold, and her beautiful eyes were filled with endless coldness. Shio waved his hand, and blue light bloomed on her body, forming a continuous wave. Rain fell from the sky. It covered the sky and covered the earth, sprinkling forward. This was no ordinary rainwater. Every droplet was sparkling and translucent, carrying boundless killing intent. They formed a large blue net that enveloped the Minotaur. You want to hurt me with mere rain? The Oxhead sneered. He punched out, completely tearing the entire sky apart. The rain that filled the sky was impacted by the energy and kept shaking in the sky. However, this was the power of water, and it carried endless killing intent. Soon, the rain pierced through the void and blasted the Oxhead's body. Clang! 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 The Oxhead kept retreating. However, he was not injured. His physique was simply too strong. Ha ha! You want to hurt me with mere rain? You're overestimating yourself. Bitch, go to hell. The Minotaur stretched out a hand and grabbed forward. Ah! The woman's face was pale and her body swayed. However, at this moment, a golden light appeared within the blue light on her body. A golden saber light burst out of his body and slashed forward. Puff! This saber slashed apart all of the attacks and cut open the opponent's palm. Blood dyed the sky red, and the Minotaur cried out in pain. Damn it, how dare you hurt me! Demon Ox Fist! He was truly enraged. Countless terrifying fists appeared in the sky, smashing down like meteors. The entire sky shattered and shrouded the woman. Boom! The golden saber swung and closed, sweeping in all directions. As the two collided, countless sparks erupted. Damn it! Go for me! Seeing this scene, the people from the Demon Royal Palace roared in anger. Several powerful demon kings rushed over. Seeing this scene, the people of the 5 Elements Palace also shouted coldly and sent out their experts. Everyone fought together, and terrifying energy swept out in all directions. The entire secret chamber was shaking. Fortunately, there was a strong barbaric aura above the secret chamber, which blocked the terrifying energy impact. Otherwise, not to mention the secret chamber, the entire ancient tomb would be destroyed. Huatiandu, come and fight! The 5 Elements Saint stepped forward, and the power of the 5 elements spread out from his body. Behind him was a 5 elements mountain. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Huitiendu stepped forward, and the demonic power on his body surged like a vast ocean, shattering the void. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people retreated and distanced themselves. The other martial artists from the sacred grounds and sects also looked over when they saw this scene. Lin Xian and the others narrowed their eyes. Huitiendu, the saint of the demon royal palace. They wondered how strong he was. Whoosh! In front, the 5 elements saint made his move. 5 elements light flickered under his feet, and his body charged forward like lightning. He struck out with his palm. The golden palm was like a raging wave, shattering the void and shrouding Huitiendu. You want to fight me in close combat? You must be tired of living. Huitiendu let out a long roar, and a purple light circulated around his body. He clenched his 5 fingers into a fist and punched out, colliding with the terrifying golden palm. The battle between the two was very intense, and the eyelids of the surrounding people twitched wildly. Lin Xian also looked over with rapt attention. Wasn't this Huitiendu's physique too strong? Did the demon clan all have such strong physiques? The battle ahead was very intense. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he scanned the battlefield. Then, he looked at a wall. There was a picture on the wall. It was a stone painting with Tao patterns on it. There were a total of 6 Tao patterns. That was really incredible. That was because ordinary broken ancient treasures would at most have 1 or 2 Tao patterns on them, and that was enough to make everyone go crazy. But this stone painting actually had 6 Tao patterns on it, which was absolutely shocking. No wonder the people from the 5 Elements Palace and the Demon Royal Palace were fighting. No matter who saw it, they would probably go crazy. Moreover, under the stone painting, there were a few fragments, which were also ancient treasure fragments. Little White, take out those ancient treasures first. Lin Xian grabbed Little White Monkey, and Little White Red used Treasure Basin to take out the 2 fragments. Seeing this scene, the Crimson Dragon laughed. Haha, there were indeed Tao patterns. Among the 2 fragments, one had 1 Tao pattern, and the other had 1.5 Tao patterns. These Tao patterns were extremely mysterious, and they were different from now. They were obviously from ancient times. If they could comprehend the secrets and profoundness inside, it would definitely increase their strength greatly. Little White, go get that stone painting and see if you can take it down, the Crimson Dragon said. Little White tried and found that it was impossible. He reckoned that with the Snow White Little Monkey's current strength, he could at most retrieve 2 Tao patterns from thin air. He wouldn't be able to retrieve any more. It seemed that they could only snatch it. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Xinjingqiu was also very excited. She blinked her crescent-shaped eyes. I'm so excited. Hurry up and do it. I can't wait anymore. This little girl liked to fight now. After all, although she was powerful and had reached the saintess level. But normally, she didn't have many opportunities to fight. Therefore, her actual combat experience wasn't very strong. Now, the little girl urgently wanted to fight to improve herself. Alright, let's go all out, Lin Xian added. After all, the people around him were all at the level of saints. In addition to Dark Red Shenong and Xing Tian, they were definitely incomparably powerful. Although such a team had few people, they weren't weak at all compared to the 2 major forces inside. Let's wait and let the people inside exhaust themselves first. When they're almost done fighting, we'll go. Lin Xian and the others flashed and hid in the void, looking ahead. Chapter 2458. The battle in front was extremely intense. No one from the 5 Elements Palace or the Demon King Palace was willing to back down. After all, the temptation of 6 Tao patterns was simply too great for them. In an instant, the sky was filled with dazzling light as terrifying auras filled the air. All kinds of weapons collided in the sky, making intense sounds. Every collision tore the sky apart, causing huge cracks to appear one after another. Those who passed by felt their scalps go numb when they saw such an intense battle. They didn't dare to get close at all and stayed far away. Therefore, they didn't know that there was a stone painting with 6 Tao patterns inside. Among them, the 5 elements Saint and Huitiendu were the fiercest. Both of them were saints and were extremely powerful. If they attacked now, they would definitely be able to destroy one side. The martial artists who were close to them exploded into a bloody mist. Boom! An elder from the 5 Elements Palace was caught off guard and was hit by the shockwave. Half of his body instantly split open. He screamed as his scalp went numb. He immediately retreated. Half of his body was already broken, and his internal organs were exposed. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The elder from the 5 Elements Palace used a secret technique to quickly heal his broken body. Soon, he was back to normal. However, the elder's face was extremely pale. At their level, they could recover from ordinary injuries. At the Invincible King level, they were even more powerful. As long as their soul wasn't destroyed, they could be reborn. It was said that at the Saint level, they were even more terrifying. Even if their physical body and soul were destroyed, they could be reborn as long as there was a drop of blood. Although they couldn't do that now, as long as it wasn't a fatal injury, they could still recover. It was just that the consumption was greater. The elder recovered and let out a furious roar. He led the 3 young disciples and charged forward once again. This time, they stared at Yenryu. Because they realized that there was no one around her. Kill! The elder was an almighty, and the 3 young disciples behind him were also almighty geniuses. At this moment, the 4 of them attacked together, and the scene was extremely terrifying. In an instant, they tore through the void and arrived in front of Yenryu. Yenryu raised her head to look at this scene, and the corners of her mouth curled up in disdain. Buzz! Countless energy gathered behind her. It formed a pair of golden wings. She gently fanned them. Swoosh! The light in the sky turned into golden divine swords that pierced through the void. Boom! Boom! The golden swords that filled the sky enveloped the 4 people. Ah! Damn it! The elder from the 5 Elements Palace was sent flying again. There were 6 golden divine swords piercing through his body. His entire body was covered in cracks, and he almost fell apart. As for the 3 disciples behind him, they were killed with a single slash. Damn it, how could she be so strong? The elders of the 5 Elements Palace were stunned. Who was this person? Holy Maiden of the Demon King Palace? But that shouldn't be the case. Even if she was the Holy Maiden, it was impossible for her to severely injure him in one move. When the others saw this scene, they were all stunned. Everyone in the 5 Stars Palace looked at Yenryu, their scalps going numb. Originally, they had wanted to kill this peerless beauty, but now, they no longer dared to do so. The strength this woman displayed was even more terrifying than Huitiendu's. In the distance, Lin Xian and the others who were hiding in the void cried out in surprise when they saw this scene. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He did not expect Yenryu's strength to be so strong. She had probably surpassed the average saint and reached the level of a top-tier saint. This girl was so fierce. The Crimson Dragon was also shocked. Those golden divine swords made him tremble a little. He carefully sensed and then said, "Kid, this girl is not simple. The bloodline in her body is unusual. I feel that her bloodline seems to be stronger than that of the Demon King Palace's saint. But I don't know what it is exactly." Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu also looked solemn. Beside them, Xingtian's eyes flickered. He suggested, "Young master, it's best for us to use a blitzkrieg strategy and escape immediately after snatching the treasures. We can't be entangled with them." He realized that there were too many experts from the 2 sacred grounds. No matter how strong they were, if they were trapped, it would be difficult for them to escape. "All right, let's wait a little longer. When they're almost done fighting, we'll make our move." Roussillon, set up the array formation later. "Let's work together and not separate. We'll take the treasures directly. After that, immediately use the array formation to teleport. Also, don't use the ultimate techniques of your sacred grounds. Don't expose our identities." "Got it." Everyone nodded. "You've made me excited. The Crimson Dragon chuckled and grabbed 5 or 6 array formations in his hand. The battle in front was almost over. Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Let's go. Everyone turned into a torrent and rushed over. The people from the 5 Elements Palace and the Demon King Palace who were fighting in front suddenly frowned, and their expressions became extremely ugly. That was because they realized that a powerful and violent force was surging toward them. Damn it! Oh no! Someone's coming! They wanted to fight back, but soon, they were all blasted away. Many people's bodies directly split open. The weaker ones were directly blasted into a bloody mist, and the stronger ones were also injured. In an instant, a vacuum appeared in the entire hall. Damn it! Who's that? Those people roared. They did not expect that someone would dare to come and snatch the treasures. That's unforgivable. However, they could not see clearly at all. There were countless black gas in front of them that enveloped everything. The souls and eyes of those elders could not escape at all. Damn it, get lost! Seeing the other party rushing over, a person from the Demon King Palace flew up. He had a pair of lightning wings on his back, and his body was surrounded by a sea of lightning. There were scales on his face. It was a thunderbird. At this moment, he was charging toward the black fog in front of him. Before he got close, his body emitted crackling sounds, and countless lightning bolts fell in all directions. The sky was directly shattered, and the violent sea of lightning enveloped the black fog. Humph! Go to hell! The Thunderbird was also a powerful genius of the Demon King Palace, and he had the bloodline of a mutated species. Boom! Boom! A low voice sounded, and a palace appeared in the black fog, soaring into the sky. The palace was very hazy, as if it was a demonic palace, and it emitted a monstrous aura. As soon as it appeared, it tore the sea of lightning apart and floated in the sky. Damn it, what is that? Everyone was shocked. However, a ray of light shone down from the black palace and directly hit the Thunderbird, sending him flying. Poof! The Thunderbird spat out blood and flew out, smashing the void. Damn it, why is it so strong? This is the 9 Heavens Sacred Ground's superpower. Everyone looked at the Black Palace and frowned, especially those from the 5 Elements Palace. Their faces were even gloomier. Damn it, you're from the 9 Heavens Sacred Ground! They roared crazily. Chapter 2459. The people from 5 Elements Palace looked gloomy. Damn it, you're from the 9 Heavens Sacred Ground! They roared crazily with ferocious expressions. However, a sneer came from the black mist. No one answered. The black mist rushed toward the mural at an even faster speed. The power was so terrifying that it directly shattered the void. Damn it, this is bad. His target is the stone mural! Everyone exclaimed and tried to stop him. Soon someone screamed. Damn it, where are the 2 fragments of the ancient treasures? As they fought, they realized that the 2 fragments at the bottom of the mural had disappeared. This made them go crazy. After all, those were ancient treasures with Tao inscriptions. They did not know that Lin Xian and the others had taken them away. They thought that someone from both sides had secretly taken them away. If they knew the truth, they would definitely vomit blood. That's right, Lin Xian and the others were in the black mist. They didn't use their best skills, but concealed their identities. Among them, Lin Xian was more skilled. The great dragon sword soul simulated everything. He had seen the 9 Heavens Saint fight before, so he could simulate some of the 9 Heavens Sacred Ground's skills. Damn it, get lost! Countless people attacked crazily. However, a terrifying array appeared in the black mist and shrouded the surrounding people. These were all terrifying killing arrays. As soon as they appeared, flames, lightning, and storms all swept over. This caused the people who had just arrived to dodge and defend themselves. Boom! In an instant, many people did not have time to care about the black mist. However, there were also experts among them. A man with an elephant trunk rushed over and punched out. At the same time, his elephant trunk rolled up and the sky exploded. A terrifying storm swept over. This was the giant demon elephant. He had the bloodline of an ancient giant demon beast. The power of his attack was unimaginable. His strength had reached the level of a prospective saint. Unfortunately, he encountered Lin Xian and the others this time. And it was not just one person. 3 geniuses and 2 peerless experts attacked together. Boom! The giant demon elephant's body exploded into pieces in an instant. What? The giant demon elephant was killed? The people from Demon King Palace were stunned. How is that possible? Who was it? Could it be that he was an invincible king? The giant demonic elephant was extremely powerful. Even a holy prince or an elder would not be able to kill it with a single palm strike. Not good. They were not alone. The elders of the Demon Imperial Palace roared in anger. They realized that the other party's strength was strong, but it was obvious that they were not of the same attribute. Evidently, many people had joined the battle. For a moment, these elders also stepped forward to resist. The people from the 5 Elements Palace also joined in the fight. The 5 Elements Saint and Huitiandu also stopped attacking. The 2 of them also tried to intercept him. Many experts blocked the black fog. Within the black fog, Lin Xian growled and attacked. Xing Tian was the first to attack. He moved his fist, and a terrifying light illuminated the sky. This punch was a type of lightning fist. It was called the Thunder Tiger Fist. The lightning that filled the sky interweaved to form a lightning tiger, shattering the void. The terrifying light pierced through the 9 heavens. Lin Xian also made his move. He controlled the black palace in the sky and pressed it down. It was like a demonic mountain that caused the void to explode. The qi and blood in the bodies of those martial artists were surging. Their internal organs were severely injured. It was too terrifying. Who was this person? They resisted madly. At this moment, the Crimson Dragon made his move. The dragon blood in his body surged and transformed into a few giant pythons. He did not transform into a dragon because he wanted these people to think that it was the myriad poison sect who had attacked. As expected, the giant pythons carried his dragon blood and were extremely corrosive. Therefore, as soon as they appeared, they attacked the people from the 5 Elements Palace and the Demon Imperial Palace. Sizzling sounds came from those people's bodies. Their flesh and bones melted quickly as if snow had encountered the sun. These people screamed and rolled in the air. The others roared angrily. Damn it, it's poisonous! It's the Myriad Poison Sect! Could it be that the Myriad Poison Sect and the 9 Heavens Sacred Ground had joined forces? Humph! Huitiandu snorted coldly. His voice was like thunder, resounding through the sky. He slapped down with his palm. Countless demonic runes shone in his palm, as if the palm of a heavenly demon was descending from the sky. It completely enveloped all of the black mist. Huitiandu was extremely terrifying. As the saint of the Demon Imperial Palace, not only was he powerful, but he also had a top-notch bloodline power. The 5 Elements Saint also made his move. He struck out a 5 Elements mountain and collided with the demonic palace in the sky. Huitiandu faced Xingtian, while the 5 Elements Saint faced Lin Xian. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. However, until now, they still did not know who was inside the black mist. At this moment, Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu also made their move. Another 2 waves of violent energy surged out, causing everyone's expression to change. Damn it, how could there be so many experts? The elders were stunned. The 5 Elements Saint and Huitiandu also had gloomy expressions. That was because they realized that the 2 new forces that appeared were definitely not weaker than them. They were at least at the level of a saint, or a peerless powerhouse. How could the other party have so many powerhouses? They had joined forces. Which sacred grounds and sects had joined forces? They did not know. They roared like crazy. However, they could not defeat Lin Xian and Xing Tian, let alone attack Xinjingqiu and Murong Qingqing. In addition to the violent array formation around them, the battle was extremely intense. However, although these people were angry, they still heaved a sigh of relief. That was because they realized that they had stopped these people. Although these people were powerful, they did not have many people. If both sides attacked together, it would be enough to stop the other party. As long as they controlled the other party and restrained them, they could slowly make the other party reveal their true forms. Although this was a good idea, they did not see it. Behind them, near the mural, a white light flashed. Immediately after, a white little monkey appeared in midair. It looked at the mural in front of it and grinned. In the next moment, Little White waved its little paws and grabbed the stone inscription. Then, it used its strength and broke it off the wall. Whoosh! It was kept in the treasure bowl. The whole process was very fast. In addition, no one thought that someone would secretly steal it. Therefore, when they came back to their senses, they only saw a flash of white light. Ah! Damn it! The treasure map was stolen! What? Hearing this, the people of the Five Elements Palace and the Demon Imperial Palace stopped attacking. They all turned their heads to look behind them. They found that the wall behind them was empty. The treasure map with 6 Tao inscriptions had disappeared. Damn it, how could this be? Everyone roared crazily. Ah! The Five Elements Saint roared. His black hair fluttered. The power of the 5 elements on his body soared into the sky, and the 5 elements mountain exploded in all directions. Chapter 2460. Huitiendu was equally shocked. His purple hair fluttered like a devil as countless purple lightning bolts appeared on his body. Once the lightning bolts appeared, it instantly enveloped the entire space and sealed off all the possible escape routes. A cold voice rang out. No matter who you are, you must die today! How dare you touch what I want? No one in this world can save you! Hearing this voice, some people felt a chill down their spines. Yenryu's eyes flickered, but she did not make a move. Actually, she wanted to make a move, but she saw the little white monkey. She even saw the whole process of the little white monkey stealing the treasure map. Therefore, she did not make a move. Instead, her eyes flickered and a mysterious smile appeared on her face. So it's him, Yenryu said indifferently. Then, she stood aside. Rays of light bloomed on her body, blocking all the energy waves. However, she had no intention of making a move. Boom! The battle was still going on ahead. However, it was obvious that the 5-star saint and Huitiendu were both provoked. Especially Huitiendu, who was furious. His body was filled with killing intent because he could not tolerate that someone dared to steal the treasure he wanted in front of him. His eyes flickered with purple lightning and pierced through the void, but it could not penetrate the black mist. Go! Seeing that the little white monkey had succeeded, Lin Xian was overjoyed. Whoosh! They turned around and retreated backward. You want to leave? Not so easy! Huitiendu was furious. He was like a thunder god as the lightning bolts on his body spread in all directions and completely sealed off the entire sky. Buzz! His eyes stared at the black mist. How dare you use lightning in front of me? Go to hell! His opponent was Xing Tian. Previously, Xing Tian used the Thunder Tiger Fist, which formed a lightning tiger in the sky and fought against Huitiendu. As for Huitiendu, he did not use the Thunder Fist technique previously. However, he finally could not hold it in anymore. His body was surrounded by lightning. He was a lightning-type martial artist, and his lightning was extremely terrifying due to his inheritance and bloodline. Today, I will let you know what the real divine lightning is. Huitiendu's voice was cold. As his eyes flickered, purple lightning split the void and formed a sea of lightning. With a palm strike, tens of thousands of lightning bolts roared and countless lightning runes flickered on his palm. In the sky, Xing Tian's lightning tiger was swallowed in an instant and then torn into pieces. This guy's lightning was very special. Xing Tian also furrowed his brows. He wanted to change his cultivation technique, but at this moment, Lin Xian said, Don't fight him head-on. Let's leave first. If he wanted to fight, there would be plenty of opportunities in the future. Yes. Xing Tian didn't attack again. Instead, he defended together and prepared to retreat. Rosalong, it's up to you. Don't worry, I've already prepared it. The Crimson Dragon took out a set of formations. 1. The formation enveloped them completely. The void split open, and everyone disappeared. Seeing that the other party did not attack again, Hui Tiandu sneered. He thought that the other party was afraid. Indeed, no one could surpass him in terms of lightning. But in the next moment he frowned. That was because he discovered that the other party had actually torn through the void and disappeared. Damn it, he escaped. Purple lightning purgatory. Lock it down. Hui Tiandu bellowed as 100,000 lightning bolts surged forth, forming a lightning purgatory that completely sealed off the entire space. He would not give the other party any chance to escape. However, the space created by the Crimson Dragon was indeed mysterious and extremely fast. Therefore, Hui Tiandu's purple demon purgatory did not seal the other party at all. The Five Elements Saint also raised his hand and struck out with the Five Elements Mountain, covering a corner of the sky as he tried to suppress this space. But he also failed. Damn it, he managed to escape. The Five Elements Saint gritted his teeth, while Hui Tiandu roared at the sky. The lightning on his body shot out in all directions. Those from the Five Elements Palace vomited blood and were sent flying. Damn it, I don't care who you are, I will kill you! 9 heavens holy ground, 10,000 poison sect, I will remember you. The elders from the Five Elements Palace also shouted angrily. Let's go! The Five Elements Saint waved his hand and was about to leave with a gloomy face. But in the next moment he frowned. That was because he discovered that Hui Tiandu was blocking his way again. Get lost! The Five Elements Saint shouted coldly. He was in a bad mood. However, Hui Tiandu was filled with killing intent. Damn it, it's all because of you idiots from the Five Elements Palace. How dare you stop me? You made me lose my treasure. All of you must die. With that, Hui Tiandu cast the Thunder Purgatory again, enveloping the Five Elements Saint and the people from the Five Elements Palace. You're courting death. The people from the Five Elements Palace were also enraged. The Five Elements Saint even shouted coldly. How could they be blamed for Hui Tiandu's entry? They were the ones who found it first. If anyone were to be angry, it should be the Five Elements Palace. Hui Tiandu, you're too arrogant. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? The Five Elements power on the Five Elements Saint burned fiercely, and the terrifying Five Elements mountain behind him emitted a terrifying aura. Boom! The two of them started fighting. The people from the Demon King Palace and the Five Elements Palace started fighting again, and it was even more intense than before. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others used the space array to tear the void and teleport out. Whoosh! They appeared in a corner. They looked around and realized that not many people were paying attention to them. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand, and these people moved again, changing many positions. Only then did they stop. The black aura on their bodies dissipated, and everyone had a smile on their faces. This thing can't be broken apart. Let's quickly comprehend it. Lin Xian took out the treasure map. In the next moment, Murong Qingqing, Xin Jingqiu, and the others all sat down, and the Crimson Dragon formed countless defensive arrays. The group quickly comprehended it. Among them, Xin Jingqiu and Murong Qingqing had serious expressions. Mysterious runes flickered in their eyes, and the aura on their bodies was extremely terrifying. The most important thing for them was to completely memorize the 6 Tao inscriptions on the treasure map. They could not afford to make any mistakes. Xin Jingqiu and Murong Qingqing quickly memorized it, and Lin Xian's eyes flickered. However, at this moment, he suddenly frowned, and a cold murderous intent appeared in his eyes. Whoosh! He decisively made his move. With a wave of his hand, the sword light pierced through the distance. Bang! Bang! 2 deep sounds rang out, and 2 figures were shaken out. Their faces were filled with fear. They did not expect the other party to discover them. The demon race? Seeing the 2 figures, Lin Xian frowned. Beside him, Xing Tian's face was also gloomy. Why were the demon race following them? Were they planning to launch a sneak attack? Xingtian, you continue to stay here and protect them. I'll go and deal with these two guys. Yes. Xingtian stood up and protected Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu. Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he quickly chased after them. The two demon race experts saw that the situation was not good, and they quickly fled. Chapter 2461. The two demon race powerhouses saw that the situation was not good, and hurriedly fled. Whoosh! However, their path was blocked because a figure was faster than them and directly blocked their path. So fast! The person on the left exclaimed, while the demon race powerhouse on the right snorted coldly and quickly attacked. Bang! The pitch-black claw lashed out with a terrifying aura, shrouding Lin Xian in an instant. Boom! Lin Xian's gaze was cold as he struck out with his palm. The sun, moon, and stars revolved in his palm and collided with the terrifying black palm. A terrifying power erupted. In the next moment, the demon race powerhouse screamed because his black palm was directly obliterated. Not only that, the sun-moon divine palm also enveloped him. Damn it! The demon race powerhouse roared and charged in all directions. However, he could not break through at all. Whoosh! Two black wings suddenly grew out from his back and his face became ferocious. Many black patterns appeared on his body and he looked like a human-shaped bat. Bat King! This was an expert from the demon race. With a furious roar, he opened his bloody mouth and directly crushed the stars in the sky. Want to trap me? You're overestimating yourself. Bat King sneered and wanted to escape. However, in the next moment, an even more terrifying palm slapped down and directly smashed his body, shattering all his bones. With a bang, Bat King fell to the ground and was completely enveloped by the Sword of Earth. If you dare to move again, I can guarantee that you'll suffer a fate worse than death. Lin Xian's cold voice sounded. He turned his head and stared at the other person. When the other person saw this scene, he roared and the scales on his body rapidly grew. A tail appeared on his back and a single horn grew on his forehead. This was Giant Snake King. When he saw that the situation was not right, he immediately shattered the void and wanted to leave. That was because the other party's methods were too terrifying, far beyond his imagination. Lin Xian sneered and shattered the void with a punch. Then, his finger reached into the black hole and grabbed Giant Snake King out. He exerted force in his palm and crushed all the bones in Giant Snake King's body. He also sealed his power and threw him to the ground. The two powerful demon kings were struggling furiously, but there was nothing they could do. They could only glare angrily at the front. However, Lin Xian did not care at all. He turned his head and looked at another void. There was no one there. However, Lin Xian said in a deep voice, "Come out, I know you are there. Kid, I have to say, your strength has indeed exceeded my expectations." Another figure appeared from the void. This was also a demon clan powerhouse. His aura was even stronger than Bat King and Giant Snake King combined. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. He could feel that the other party's aura was very strong, not weaker than the Holy Sun's. Brat, you're dead. Although Lord Mingqi was not the saint, he was the youngest elder. His strength is beyond your imagination. That's right, our master Mengqi possesses the bloodline of the ancient Qiongqi. Do you really think you can stand a chance against him? The two demon kings below roared angrily, trying to scare Lin Xian away. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The youngest elder? The bloodline of the ancient Qiongqi? No wonder he had such a strong aura. Brat, now you know how powerful I am. Let go of my people obediently. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Mengqi said coldly. He looked to be in his 30s and was extremely handsome. At this moment, he stood in the sky, exuding a strong aura. He was very confident and proud. Although he was not the Holy Son, he was an elder. Moreover, he was the youngest elder. He did not even care about the other holy sons and holy daughters. This was because he felt that no one could compare to him. After all, he possessed the bloodline of the ancient Jiangqi. That was a peerless ancient beast. After hearing this, Lin Xian sneered. That's all? You want to scare me? You think too highly of yourself. You only possess a trace of the bloodline of the Jiangqi. You're not the real Jiangqi. Do you think you can be arrogant in front of me? As for letting the two of them go? That's impossible. Brat, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being ruthless. Meng Qi's face darkened. His cold eyes emitted a terrifying murderous intent. When he struck out his palm, a terrifying light lit up the sky. The entire space was shaking. It had to be said that Meng Qi was very powerful. He was definitely not weaker than the Holy Sun. At this moment, the power of his palm was terrifying. This was a flaming palm. It was like a cloud of fire, rolling over. Humph! A small elder of the Demon King Palace dares to attack me? Lin Xian sneered. He waved his palm and struck out with his own palm. Boom! 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 The two collided. The surrounding space was instantly shattered. The flames in the sky surged like a sea of fire rushing in all directions. At this moment, the terrifying fight alarmed the people in the vicinity, causing them to be terrified as they watched. Who are they? Why are they fighting here? It's so scary. Could it be that they're snatching something? Let's stay away. This is at least a battle between holy sons. It's not something we can participate in. Discussions broke out and the crowd instantly distanced themselves. Nearby, the Crimson Dragon formed an array to defend. This prevented the aftershock of the energy from affecting Shinjinqiu and Murong Qingqing. After the attack, Meng Qi was surprised because he found that the other party had blocked his attack. It was really surprising. I didn't expect you to know fire elemental skills. However, this little fire of yours is nothing in front of me. Today, I'll let you know what real fire is. Meng Qi's voice was cold. As he opened and closed his eyes, there was a mysterious flame that instantly melted the void. The terrifying temperature made people tremble. Boom! Another punch split the sky and earth. This flaming fist directly shattered the void. Ordinary mighty figures would not be able to survive under his fist. They would probably be burned to ashes in an instant. Even a peerless mighty figure would not dare to take it head-on. Buzz! Lin Xian's aura surged. Sword Qi circled around him. At the same time, the spiritual domain of the dragon sword rose and fell, enveloping him. The sword Qi quickly evolved and formed a fire Qilin. Roar! This time, the tremor went straight to the 9 heavens. The entire hall shook. Cracks in space crawled in all directions like pythons. Everyone around was so shaken that their blood boiled. Many people even knelt on the ground, unable to stand up. How terrifying! What kind of people were fighting against each other? It was normal for people to fight. The reason for that was because there were battles taking place in no less than several hundred locations in the palace hall. In some places, the battles were so intense that the sky and earth were collapsing. They were all fighting for the fragment of the ancient treasure. However, it was rare to see a fight as earth-shattering as the one in front. They were obviously two peerless experts. Who exactly are they? They were all stunned. Even some of the elders of the sacred grounds changed their expressions. Chapter 2462. Their eyes lit up and turned into rainbows. They looked into the void and pierced through the flames. When they saw the two figures fighting in the flames, they were so scared that their scalps went numb. It was them. He saw two figures. They knew Lin Xian very well. However, they didn't know the expert from the Demon King Palace. But from the other party's skills, he was definitely a top existence. I recognize him. He's the youngest elder of the Demon King Palace. His name is Meng Qi and he seems to have the bloodline of Jiangqi. What? The bloodline of the ancient peerless demon beast, Jiangqi. Heavens, this person is too terrifying. Judging from his young appearance, He was definitely a top-notch expert. That's right. That kid from the Immortal Palace actually provoked the people from the Demon King Palace again. He's really bold. Where are the experts around him? Why aren't they here? Why did he attack himself? They were probably fighting for the Tao pattern. Didn't they see that the people from the Demon King Palace didn't appear? Only Meng-Chi was there. But thinking about it, that kid shouldn't be able to resist this time. After all, the bloodline of Cheong-Chi was not a joke. It would be best if he was killed. That way, there would be one less enemy. Many people sneered. However, the elders were frowning. Would Lin Xian be killed so easily? It was hard to say. However, they didn't think that Lin Xian was 100% confident that he could defeat the other party. After all, Cheong-Chi was an extremely terrifying existence. Although Meng-Chi only had part of the bloodline of Cheong-Chi, he was still incredible. Moreover, he was talented and became an elder at such a young age. This was definitely a recognition of his strength. Just as these people were discussing, Lin Xian and Meng-Chi had already exchanged dozens of blows. The two of them were fighting fiercely. Bang! 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 Another shocking attack. The two of them retreated and confronted each other. Kid, your sword chi is not bad. It's very sharp, but it's still not enough in front of me. I'll let you know what a peerless divine fire is. Meng-Chi raised his right hand. In his palm, a purple flame jumped. Every time it jumped, those elders' eyelids would tremble violently. Could this be Cheong-Chi's bloodline fire? It must be! Otherwise, it wouldn't have given me such a huge shock. The elders swallowed their saliva. It seemed that the power of Meng-Chi's bloodline was much stronger than they had imagined. Even the Cheong-Chi's bloodline flame could be condensed. This was heaven-defying. Brat, provoking me is your biggest mistake. Now go to hell. Meng-Chi waved his hand, holding Cheong-Chi's fire of bloodline, and charged at Yifutian. The purple flames danced and turned into a long purple saber that slashed down. Boom! The sky split open and flames danced. The entire space was enveloped by purple flames. This saber strike was incomparably terrifying. It was as if the saber of a deity had descended. It had the power to look down on all directions and destroy the world. From the looks of it, he wanted to kill Lin Xian with one strike. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly, his expression incomparably cold. Whoosh! He pulled out the ancient dragon abyss sword. He waved the ancient sword, and a terrifying sword light shot up into the sky. It was like a divine sword piercing through the void. It clashed with the purple flames and saber light. The great dragon sword soul in his body circulated, causing the sword chi to dance together with the black flames. These were all swords of fire, extremely terrifying. The two of them fought again, and all the elders around were stunned. What was going on? How could the other party resist Cheong-Chi's fire of bloodline? How did this brat do it? What exactly was his black flame? How could it be so powerful? How could this brat have such a terrifying flame? It was no weaker than Cheong-Chi's bloodline. These elders widened their eyes in disbelief. No! An elder from the sacred ground had mysterious runes on his body. His power did not seem to be flames. Could it be that he was using a great divine power to simulate a terrifying flame? He was trying to slap Meng-Chi in the face. In front of him, Meng-Chi's expression also changed because he did not expect the other party's flame to be so powerful that it could compete with his fire of bloodline. This was unbelievable. Humph! He snorted coldly, and the purple flame shone even more brightly. It even formed a blurry shadow that crashed forward, trying to kill the other party. However, it only pushed the other party back a few steps and did not hurt him at all. Damn brat, I don't believe it! Go to hell! Meng-Chi roared crazily. The purple flames on his body jumped and gradually condensed into a Cheong-Chi. It seemed that he wanted to show his great divine power. Cheong-Chi roared angrily, and the purple flames formed a shadow of heaven and earth that floated in the air. Then, it opened its bloody mouth and let out a horrified roar. This roar contained a strong bloodline power, as if the real Cheongchi had been resurrected. The roar shook the 9 heavens. Heaven and earth shattered. The terrifying energy swept in all directions, and the surrounding martial artists were all sent flying, vomiting blood. Even the elders were pale and kept retreating. What a terrifying pressure, what a terrifying bloodline power. It's over, that brat is dead. At such a close distance, he can't dodge at all, and he probably can't fight back either. The others were discussing. That was Meng Qi's goal. He did not believe that the other party could withstand it. Lin Xian's pupils constricted as he felt the pressure. Bang! A loud dragon roar came from his body to fight back. Roar bang! The roar shook the 9 heavens. Everyone vomited blood again and retreated, their faces full of horror. Damn it, what is that sound? These people were crazy. In the sky, 2 sound waves collided, tearing everything apart. A huge crack appeared in the void, causing the entire sky to tremble. At this moment, everyone could not stand still, and their blood was boiling. They stopped fighting and looked into the distance in shock. In another side hall, the people of 5 Elements Palace and Demon King Palace were fighting. Suddenly, a furious roar roared, shaking these people to the point that they vomited blood. The people of 5 Elements Palace changed their expressions, and the martial artists of Demon King Palace were even more shocked. It was Elder Meng Qi. He actually used the Cheongqi roar. What happened to him? The people of Demon King Palace were also stunned. The Cheongqi roar was a great divine power. With Elder Meng Qi's strength, he would not use it under normal circumstances. They thought that he must have encountered a great enemy. However, they were not worried. No matter who the enemy was, as long as they used the Cheongqi roar, the other party would definitely be destroyed. However, immediately after, a loud and clear dragon roar completely overturned them. These people's expressions changed. Dragon roar! It's the royal family. It must be the royal family. They roared crazily, but they did not know which royal family it was. This time, the 4 royal families were here. The masters of Great Xia, Zhili, Tai, and Divine Wind all had the aura of the dragon. Which royal family had fought with Elder Meng Qi? They did not know. Thank you? Wuguan. Piao Hong. Thank you for the Wind of Permethal. Reward according to fate. Chapter 2463. Which royal family was it that fought Elder Meng Qi? They didn't know. They wanted to go over and watch, but the people from 5 Elements Palace blocked them. Want to leave? Not so easy. Compensate us for our losses first. They naturally guessed that the other party's elder was threatened. They wouldn't let the people from Demon King Palace go to help. It would be best if the other party's elder died. That way, they would feel better. Damn it, get out of here! The people from Demon King Palace roared angrily. However, at this moment, another earth-shattering dragon roar sounded. The people from Demon King Palace were all stunned. Many of them trembled and prostrated on the ground. Those elders also gritted their teeth and resisted with difficulty. Hui Tiandu's body erupted with light, making him look like a sun. He resisted the dragon roar. A mysterious power appeared in Yan Ryu's body. A mysterious rune appeared between her brows and instantly dissolved the dragon roar. Obviously, her bloodline power was far beyond everyone's imagination. The dragon roar and Cheongqi's roar couldn't threaten her at all. However, the others couldn't. They were suppressed in an instant. At this moment, the people from the 4 dynasties were also very confused. They weren't together, but each of them was in a different side hall. Therefore, they also did not know which dynasty had done it. In the main hall, terrifying roars collided and the sky fell and the earth cracked. Boom! Boom! In the sky full of light, a figure flew out and spat out a mouthful of blood. This figure was Meng Qi. His face was pale and his body was stained with blood. His face was full of shock. Impossible! Damn it, how could he withstand it? Meng Qi was about to go crazy. Not only did the other party resist his Cheongqi roar, but he was also injured. What was that sound coming from the other party's body? Dragon roar? Damn it, why did the other party have a dragon roar? The other party wasn't from the royal family, so where did the dragon roar come from? He was confused. Moreover, he couldn't believe it. Even the people from the 4 dynasties couldn't make such a terrifying dragon roar. Unless it was the princes of the 4 dynasties who had extremely terrifying dragon aura. Only then could they resist his Cheongchi roar. However, it was impossible for them to injure him. Then, there was only one possibility left. Damn it, could it be that this brat has the bloodline of the dragon clan? But how was that possible? The other party was clearly a human, so how could he possess the bloodline of the dragon clan? He couldn't figure it out, and was about to go crazy. In front of him, a sword light flashed, instantly splitting the sound waves and energy that filled the sky. Lin Xian slowly walked over. He held the killing sword in his hand, and a baleful aura surged from his body as he coldly stared at the other party. Do you think your bloodline power is enough to suppress me? You've always been the one who overestimated yourself. As he spoke, he swung his sword. The sword chi was like a rainbow, densely packed in the sky and on the ground. Thousands of sword chi slashed forward. In an instant, it enveloped Meng Qi, who was in the void. Damn it, Cheongqi, kill! Die for me! Meng Qi formed a seal with his hands. The flames on his body danced, and the purple shadow appeared again. With a roar, he charged over. He was like a purple ray of light that streaked across the sky, shattering the sword light that filled the sky. Although Meng Qi only had a trace of the bloodline, it was enough for him to laugh at the crowd. But this time, he miscalculated. This was because Lin Xian was using the great dragon sword soul. It was an offensive sacred art between heaven and earth. In an instant, the terrifying purple shadow was obliterated by the endless sword light. It dimmed and then disappeared into the void. Damn it! How could this be? Meng Qi couldn't believe it, and shook his head frantically. That was the power of his bloodline. But it was obliterated by the other party. What kind of sword chi was this? Who was the other party? There was a dragon's roar and such a terrifying sword chi. Perhaps even the Yi family's sacred son wasn't so terrifying. Damn it, I don't believe it! Kai Tian seal! Meng Qi roared, his black hair fluttering. He put his hands together and formed a strange seal. Together with the bloodline fire, he rushed forward. One blow blew up heaven and earth. It was as if heaven and earth were being split apart, causing the surrounding elders to tremble. It was over. Lin Xian's voice was cold. A dragon-shaped shadow was entrenched on the ancient sword. The long sword was swung. The combination of the 5 elements and the shadow of the dragon's sword quickly slashed forward. A 5-colored divine dragon collided with the Kai Tian seal in the sky. It was too terrifying. Their attacks collided, and the entire sky cracked open. Terrifying energy slapped in all directions like waves. The bright light made it impossible for people to open their eyes. They could only capture it through their souls. Ah! At this moment, a scream was heard. Then, Meng Qi spat out blood and flew backward. His body was split in half and one of his arms was cut off. What? Meng Qi was injured, and he was seriously injured. Those people were stunned and couldn't believe it. That was the youngest elder of the Demon King Palace, and he had the bloodline of Cheongqi, which was extremely terrifying. Now, he was seriously injured. For a moment, they couldn't imagine. Meng Qi screamed and turned into a purple stream of light, fleeing into the distance. Want to leave? Sky shattering. Chaotic pattern. God slaying. Another 3 streaks of sharp sword light completely enveloped Meng Qi. Meng Qi spat out blood again, and his injuries were even more serious. However, he didn't die and still escaped. Lin Xian used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps and quickly chased after him. However, at this moment, an even more terrifying vibration was heard. The entire sky seemed to be overturned. They didn't doubt that this energy could kill anyone. Feeling the change in the energy, Lin Xian's expression changed. He didn't chase after him. After all, The other party was seriously injured and was no match for him. Now, he had to protect Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu. Whoosh! He stopped and landed beside the two women. At the same time, he looked around vigilantly. This was because the power of the vibration was too terrifying. At this moment, Lin Xian wasn't the only one who stopped fighting. In the entire main hall, hundreds of battles stopped. On the other side, in the side hall, the people of the Five Elements Palace and the Demon King Palace also separated and stopped fighting. Their faces were filled with fear as they looked around. What kind of energy was this? It was too terrifying. It was beyond their imagination. For a moment, everyone was discussing. They were no longer searching. Instead, they set off toward the main hall. The people of the Five Elements Palace turned and left. The people of the Demon King Palace followed closely behind. However, in the next moment, their expressions became extremely ugly. This was because a figure in a sorry state came to them. Elder Meng Qi. Heavens! He actually suffered such a serious injury. At this moment, Elder Meng Qi's body was broken and his face was pale. Blood stained his body and one of his arms was missing. If it was more serious, he would probably be killed. Chapter 2464. Elder Meng Qi's body was broken and his face was pale. Blood dyed his body red, and one of his arms disappeared without a trace. If it was any more serious, he would have been killed. Elder Meng Qi, are you all right? The warriors of Demon Imperial Palace hurriedly went up and surrounded him. At the same time, they fed him pills. Meng Qi's face was pale as he gritted his teeth. He was truly terrified. Because under normal circumstances, so what if he lost an arm? It could grow back in an instant. His injuries could also be healed instantly. One had to know that their demon bloodline was very strong to begin with. But now, he couldn't do it. There was a terrifying sword intent left on his wound, preventing his broken arm from growing back. It was already very good that he could resist the sword intent with difficulty. Unless he erased the sword intent, he would not be able to recover. Otherwise, his injuries would become more and more serious. This made him even more terrified. What kind of sword technique did the other party use? How could it be so terrifying? When the people of Demon Imperial Palace detected this situation, their expressions were also solemn. Damn it! Who was it? Which imperial dynasty was it from? Was it the Great Xia dynasty? Because they knew that the Great Xia dynasty had an extreme weapon, the golden sword. Therefore, there must be an extreme weapon imitation among the people from the Great Xia dynasty this time. Perhaps these swords were to prevent the golden sword from injuring him. It wasn't someone from the Great Xia dynasty. Meng Qi swallowed some pills and recovered quite a bit. At least, he temporarily suppressed the injuries in his body. He gritted his teeth and said, "It's the kid that the saint asked us to monitor." "What? Are you talking about that Lin Xian from Immortal Palace? How could he have such a terrifying sword technique? That's not right. It shouldn't be. Was he also the one who let out the dragon roar earlier? How could he have the aura of the dragon?" The people of Demon Imperial Palace were stunned. Meng Qi was even more stunned. He didn't know. This kid was too strange. I even suspect that he has the bloodline of the dragon race. Bloodline of the dragon race. This was impossible. The elders of Demon Imperial Palace exclaimed. Even their Demon Imperial Palace only had the bloodline of the flood dragon at most. They didn't have the true bloodline of the dragon race at all. Perhaps only the nest of 10,000 dragons had it. Hu Tiandu's face was gloomy. Damn it, he didn't expect this guy to be so strong. Yan Ryu's eyes flickered as if she already knew about this. Elders, treat Elder Meng's injuries first and get rid of the sword intent in his body. Let's go! Hu Tiandu gave a few instructions, then led the large group and quickly set off. That was because they wanted to see who had unleashed that terrifying power that shook the heavens and earth. It wasn't just the Demon Imperial Palace. At this moment, everyone had gathered. Lin Xian frowned. Xin Jingqiu and Murong Qingqing, who were sitting cross-legged, opened their eyes. How is it? You didn't get interrupted, did you? Lin Xian asked with concern. The two women shook their heads. Fortunately, they had memorized everything. Big brother Lin Xian, don't worry, I'll remember it all. Xin Jingqiu smiled. That's good. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. With a wave of his hand, he wanted to put away the treasure map. However, at this moment, a roar suddenly came from afar. Good stuff. 6 Dao patterns. This is mine. A huge hand that blotted out the sky descended from the sky, wanting to take away the treasure map. You're courting death. Lin Xian was instantly enraged. His figure flickered, and he instantly grabbed the treasure map and put it into the black earth. At the same time, the Crimson Dragon activated the formation to resist. Xing Tian even threw out a punch. Boom! 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 Another fierce collision sounded. The figure was forced back and yelled in anger. Damn it! How dare you stop us? Are you tired of living? Hand over the treasure obediently, or I'll send you to the 18th level of hell. The twin princes of Middle Ground. Hearing that, Lin Xian frowned. Why did they appear? They didn't go through the middle passage. Could it be that the people from the other 2 passages were also here? He was very confused, but he didn't have time to think too much because the twin princes of Middle Ground were charging over in the sky again. The pitch-black demonic chi turned into a death scythe and slashed down. On the other side, the celestial treasure wheel also fell mercilessly. They were courting death. Let's attack together. Lin Xian snorted coldly, then slashed out with his sword. The Crimson Dragon swung its dragon tail, and Xing Tian threw out a violent punch. Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu also made their moves. It was 5 against 2. The twin princes of Middle Ground were instantly sent flying and vomited blood. The golden light and the boundless demonic chi in the sky dimmed. That attack could be said to be earth-shattering. This caused everyone's gazes to turn toward them. That was because the energy was too terrifying. They all thought that the earth-shattering sound from before was that energy. Therefore, many people flew over in a flash. When they saw the twin princes of Middle Ground flying back, everyone stopped in their tracks. They were bewildered. Heavens, what kind of energy was that? How could it send the twin princes of Middle Ground flying in an instant? It wasn't just that. Didn't you see that they were vomiting blood? Everyone was stunned. The elders and powerhouses of the various sacred grounds didn't dare to approach at all. The twin princes of Middle Ground had the strength of a chosen. Moreover, he was one of the most powerful chosen. However, he was sent flying back while vomiting blood. Who dared to move forward? In the sky, the twin princes of Middle Ground flew backward for a long time before they stopped. Ah! The 2 of them were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. They charged over again. However, they were soon sent flying again while vomiting blood. Moreover, their injuries were more serious than the last time. This caused everyone to be stunned. The twin princes of Middle Ground were so angry that they roared. The golden light and demonic chi on their bodies quickly healed their broken bones. However, the 2 of them didn't attack again. Instead, they flew over. When they saw the other parties line up, their eyelids twitched. No wonder the 2 of them couldn't defeat them. Damn it, there were 3 chosen on the other side. In addition, there was a peerless powerhouse and a very strange snake. Each of them was a terrifying enemy. If they joined forces, the 2 of them wouldn't be able to defeat them at all. The others also saw clearly that the terrifying attackers were Lin Xian and the other 4. They sucked in a breath of cold air. The previous tremors weren't caused by them, were they? Lin Xian looked at the figure in front of him and asked in a deep voice. Why are you here? Where are the people from the other passageways? Hearing that, the surrounding martial artists from the sacred grounds also came back to their senses. That's right, the middle passageway didn't have the twin princes. Could it be that the people from the other 2 passageways had also come? Sure enough, more and more figures flashed in front of them. Obviously, they were the people from the other 2 passageways. At that moment, they were all injured. Some of them were dim, while others were excited. It seemed that this path was filled with opportunities, fortuitous encounters, treasure hunting, and killing. There were obviously fewer people in that group than when they first entered. It seemed that the other two passageways weren't safe either. Everyone gathered here. When they saw that Lin Xian and the other four were surrounded, they all rushed over. Chapter 2465. The Middle State Prince couldn't win, but he gritted his teeth and said, "Kid, let's fight one-on-one if you have the guts." "One-on-one?" Lin Xian snorted disdainfully. "You two-headed monsters have the cheek to say that you want to fight one-on-one? When have you ever fought one-on-one with others? You want to fight one-on-one? Sure, split yourself in half first, then I'll fight you one-on-one." Hearing this, the Middle State Twin Kings vomited blood. The people around them felt their scalps go numb. This kid was too powerful. He had called the Twin Kings monsters more than once. What was more shocking was that he was still alive and well. On the other hand, the Middle State Twin Kings were the ones at a disadvantage again and again. "Kid, do you think you're powerful? Do you think the five of you can fight against us? If you provoke us, we'll fight to the death." A vicious look appeared in the Twin King's eyes. He pointed at Lin Xian and shouted loudly, "Listen up, this brat has a stone tablet in his hand that contains 6 Tao patterns. If you want it, go ahead and attack him." "What?" A stone tablet with 6 Tao patterns. Everyone was shocked, and their eyes turned red. Their eyes lit up as they stared at Lin Xian. Xing Tian's expression was solemn. Murong Qingqing and the others were furious. The Crimson Dragon was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Damn, he's too despicable. He wants to join forces with others to attack us? However, before he could say anything, Lin Xian spoke. He sneered. "What? Are you trying to sow discord? Why don't you say 10 Tao patterns? Why don't you go to heaven?" Lin Xian sneered and looked around. "Dare I ask, have any of you seen anything with 6 Tao patterns?" Everyone was puzzled when they heard this. Yes, they had only found 1 or 2 Tao patterns at most. If they found 3 Tao patterns, they would have already fought. They had never seen anything with 6 Tao patterns. Damn it, don't be fooled by him. He really has them. The Middle State Twin Kings gritted their teeth in anger. He looked at the people around him and wanted to slap them to death. Why are they so useless? The treasure is right in front of them, but they refuse to take it. The 5 of them might be formidable, but with so many experts from the Holy Lands around them, he didn't believe that they would be able to withstand their combined might. Who says we haven't seen him before? We have. At this moment, a furious roar came from afar. As soon as this voice came out, everyone turned their heads. People from the 5 Elements Palace, the 5 Elements Palace had also come. Behind them were the people from the 5 Elements Palace. Their killing intent soared as they approached. The group of people stared at Lin Xian. Among them, the 5 Elements Saint looked at the Twin Kings and asked in a low voice, "You said that this brat has a stone tablet with 6 Tao patterns?" "Yes, I saw it with my own eyes." "Damned brat, hand over the treasure. It originally belonged to our 5 Elements Palace." Upon hearing this, the 5th Holy Sun turned around and glared at Lin Xian. His entire face was twisted with malevolence. What? Could it be that there really was one? Furthermore, it was snatched from the 5 Elements Palace? The surrounding Holy Land's martial artists cried out in alarm, their breathing becoming rapid. "What do you mean by the 5 Elements Palace? How shameless! This belongs to the Demon King Palace." On the other side, Huatiandu Yanruyu and the experts from the Demon King Palace descended from the sky. They also stared at Lin Xian with murderous intent. However, Yanruyu did not have any murderous intent. Instead, she was all smiles. The people from the Demon King Palace had also come. It seemed that the treasure map with 6 Tao patterns was definitely real. In an instant, everyone surrounded Lin Xian, afraid that he would escape. "Brat, hand over the treasure!" The people from the 5 Elements Palace shouted coldly. On the other side, the people from the Demon King Palace roared. Damned brat, how dare you snatch our treasure? How dare you injure Elder Meng Qi? No matter what, we will not let you go today! You are dead meat! In the crowd, Meng Qi was also gnashing his teeth. Lin Xian looked at him with disdain. You have the Qiongqi bloodline? What a piece of trash! Come out and fight me if you dare. I will chop you in half. Pfft! Meng Qi was so angry that he vomited blood. He looked up and roared. Ah! Damned brat! You are too much! Just you wait. When I recover my strength, I will kill you with my own hands. You won't have the chance because you are just a piece of trash in front of me. Lin Xian sneered. He did not care at all. Hui Tiandu said coldly. Brat, you are too arrogant. You can't escape today. The experts from the Demon King Palace were filled with murderous intent. The Five Elements Palace was also bursting with energy. When Xingtian saw this, he slashed out and looked around coldly. Boom! At this moment, another cold shout came from afar. You want to fight? You can try. How dare you touch the Immortal Palace? Are you tired of living? Protect the Palace Master! 3 thunderous sounds came and 3 teams arrived again. It turned out that Elder Li, Elder Wang, and Elder Lu had arrived with their teams. The people from the 3 passageways all gathered in the hall. Xingtian heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the 3 elders bringing their elites. The people from the Demon King Palace and the 5 Elements Palace frowned. But soon they sneered. So what if your people are here? Do you think you can fight against us? Is that so? Is the 5 Elements Palace that powerful? Murong Qingqing stood out and snorted. She quickly gathered the people from the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. On the other side, Xinjingqiu also gathered the people from the Purple Afterglow Sacred Ground. Granny Qian, kill this big bad guy for me! In an instant, the people from the Purple Afterglow Sacred Ground and the Jade Lake Sacred Ground also came near Lin Xian. Suddenly, the situation became subtle. Lin Xian had 2 more allies on his side, intimidating the 5 Elements Palace and the Demon King Palace. However, things did not end like this. Because the treasure map with 6 Dao patterns was too precious. Especially among them, there were many who had a grudge against Lin Xian. Therefore, the 9 Firmament Saint, the 1,000 Thunder Saint, and the Mop-Head clan all jumped out. Brat, no matter how many allies you have, do you think you can fight against us? The 9 Firmament Saints snorted. The 1,000 Thunder Saint was even more sinister. He said coldly, I think, how about this? We won't attack. You obediently take out the treasure map with 6 Dao patterns, and we will all study it together. How about it? Hearing this, the martial artists from the surrounding sacred grounds were tempted and began to talk among themselves. On the other hand, the people from the Immortal Palace darkened their faces and were full of murderous intent. The Crimson Dragon was also gnashing his teeth in anger. Damn it, this guy is too shameless. He wants to gain something without risking anything. We risked our lives to get the treasure map. Why should we give it to you? That's right, you call yourself the 1,000 Thunder Saint. I think you should be called the Shameless Saint. You want to see our treasure map? Why don't you go to heaven? The people from the Immortal Palace snorted and were very angry. However, the myriad Thunder Saints sneered. You're wrong to say that. I'm thinking for the sake of the Immortal Palace. Look, you can keep the treasure map and avoid the danger of being besieged. This is a good opportunity. I hope you don't miss it and don't let my painstaking efforts down. The 1,000 Thunder Saint looked as if he was thinking for the sake of the Immortal Palace. Seeing this, the Crimson Dragon, Elderly, and the others gnashed their teeth in anger. This guy was too wicked. They really wanted to tear his face apart. Lin Xian's face also darkened, and there was a hint of cold killing intent in his eyes. Chapter 2466. The people from Immortal Palace gritted their teeth. This guy was too immoral. They really wanted to tear his face apart. Lin Xian's face darkened as well. His eyes were filled with a piercingly cold, killing intent. At this moment, the Tuoba family also jumped out. Kid, hand over the 6 paths treasure map. The Tai dynasty sneered. Hand it over, or no one in the world will forgive you. The other great sects also looked cold. Since there were so many holy lands taking the lead, why wouldn't they do it? Perhaps the other party would really take out the 6 paths Tao pattern treasure map. This way, they could still study it. This was definitely a great advantage. Elder Wang, Elder Li, and Elder Lu. Lin Xian transmitted his voice to the 3 of them. Do you know what treasures these holy lands have obtained? Hearing this, Elder Li's eyes lit up and he spoke first. Sharing treasures? Is this what you all want? Elder Li stood out and looked around. That's right. Of course. The 1,000 Thunder Saints sneered. The 9 Firmament Saint also looked ferocious. The people of the Tuoba family and the Tai dynasty also laughed sinisterly. Good, very good. Elder Li laughed loudly. Then, his eyes shone with a cold light. He pointed at the Tuoba family. The Tuoba family also seems to have obtained a fragment with 3 Tao patterns. Take it out and share it with everyone. What? 3 Tao patterns? The Tuoba family also obtained a fragment? Oh my God! In an instant, the martial artists from the other great sects all forgot about it. Their eyes were filled with light. Hearing those words, the people from the Tuoba family trembled and almost vomited blood. Damn it! This guy actually pointed his finger at them? But soon, an elder from the Tuoba family sneered. How could a fragment with 3 Tao patterns compare to a treasure map with 6 Tao patterns? I don't think anyone will watch it. Who said so? I want to see it. At this moment, Yi Wudao said faintly. His voice wasn't loud, but it was clearly heard by everyone. As soon as these words came out, the eyelids of the Tuoba family twitched. Their faces turned ugly. Damn it! Yi Wudao actually stood out to support the other party. This was something they didn't expect. Not only that. I also want to see a fragment with 3 Tao patterns. At this moment, another voice spoke. Everyone turned their heads and looked over. Then they gasped. Because the one who spoke was actually the prince of the great Xia dynasty. This caused the faces of the people from the Tuoba family to turn green. Damn it, why is the Grand Xia Empire standing on the side of the other party? I think it's not bad. Why don't the Tuoba family take it out and have a look? Another person spoke up. This was also a young man. His face was pale as if he was sick, but his eyes were as deep as the stars, causing others to be lost in them. Gu family! The Gu family had actually come as well. Moreover, there were also people who said such words. These people were all stunned. It was because the Gu clan was the same as the Yi clan. They were both families of the remote antiquity. The person who spoke was none other than Gu Santong, whom Lin Xian had met before. She hadn't seen him before, but he was here. Now they finally met. Lin Xian looked at the other party with a smile on his face and nodded slightly. Gu Santong also smiled. The faces of the Tuoba family were as black as the bottom of a pot. Actually, I also want to see it. On the western desert side, Wu Hua spoke up. Then, the saint of all beginnings, Murong Qingqing, and Xinjingqiu also spoke up. These were all peerless geniuses who represented a sacred ground and a clan of the ancients. In an instant, so many people spoke up, causing the surrounding sacred grounds and sects to be surprised. It seemed that the immortal palace was not alone. It could actually contact so many clan of the ancients and sacred grounds and sections. The Tuoba family did not dare to speak. The Saint of Thousand Thunder, the Saint of 9 Firmaments, and the others' faces were extremely ugly. The people of the Tai Empire were also gnashing their teeth. Seeing this scene, Elder Li's face was full of pride. He looked at the other party again. Why can't you take it out? Didn't you say that you wanted to share the treasure? Why are you not willing to do it when it comes to me? This slap in the face was too loud. Elder Lu also stood up, looked at the Tai Empire, and said coldly. I remember that the Tai Empire also obtained a stone tablet with mysterious runes engraved on it. Take it out and let everyone study it together. Maybe we can decipher some secrets. You! The Tai Empire was so angry that he vomited blood. He did not expect that the flames of war would finally spread to them. For a moment, they felt the gazes of Yu Wudao, Gu Santong, the prince of the great Xia dynasty, and the others. I like the mysterious runes very much. Take it out and study it. Maybe there really are some secrets. Maybe there is the key to the ancient tomb. Cold voices sounded out, causing the Tai Emperor's body to tremble, and he was so angry that he coughed up blood. The Saint of Thousand Thunder, the Saint of Nine Firmaments, and the others wanted to speak, but Elder Lu spoke again at this time. Saint of Nine Firmaments, I remember that you seem to have obtained a white bone with golden patterns flashing on it. How about it? Take it out and study it together? Saint of Thousand Thunder, you seem to have a piece of human skin with blood-red patterns on it. I wonder which expert left it behind? Why don't I help you study it? You! Damn it! Hearing this, the Saint of Thousand Thunder and the Saint of Nine Firmaments' faces turned green. They did not expect that the other party would know the treasures they obtained like the back of his hand. This was really too surprising. For a moment, they were speechless, and their faces were gloomy. At this time, Lin Xian sneered. What? You said that you wanted to share the treasures. Why don't you share them now? How about this? I'll take out the treasure map with 6 Tao patterns, and you guys take out all the treasures you obtained. Everyone can study it together. How about it? These people did not speak. What a joke. These treasures were obtained with great difficulty. How could they be willing to share them with others? They had thought that the immortal palace was isolated and helpless, so they joined forces to suppress it. But they did not expect that kid to have so many friends. Even ancient families like the Yi family and the Gu family were involved. This caught them off guard. The people of the Nine Firmaments' sacred ground and the Thousand Thunders' sacred ground did not speak, but the people of the Five Elements Palace and the Demon Imperial Palace jumped out again. The people of the Five Elements Palace gritted their teeth. No matter what, others are not qualified, but we are. Kid, this was originally something we found, but you snatched it away. Hurry up and hand it over. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude. No one can snatch what I want. I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and hand over the treasure map with both hands. I can spare your life. Hu Tiandu snorted coldly. Red lightning surrounded his body, and a murderous aura filled the sky. Chapter 2467. Hu Tiandu snorted coldly. Red-colored lightning surrounded his body, and a murderous aura filled the sky. You still have the cheek to say that. The Crimson Dragon jumped out, waved its dragon claws, and pointed at the people from the Five Elements Palace. You shameless bastards! Didn't you attack us at the corpse burial ground to snatch the Yin traversing grass? Now you're acting all sanctimonious. That was an ownerless item. We're powerful, so what if we got it? Also, why did the Demon King Palace send people to follow us? Are you trying to assassinate us? You attacked us first, and you're blaming us for snatching it? With that, the Crimson Dragon waved its hand and caught the Bat King and the Giant Python King. The two guys' flesh was torn open, and it was obvious that they had been tortured beyond recognition. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air, their faces full of shock. The Demon King Palace sent people to follow them secretly. Heavens, what were they trying to do? Indeed, those who were not of the same race had different intentions. In an instant, everyone was on high alert. They quickly informed the elders to investigate secretly. They did not want to be targeted by the people from the Demon King Palace again. Damn it! The people from the Five Elements Palace gritted their teeth in anger. The people from the Demon King Palace looked even more ferocious. They did not expect the Bat King and the Giant Python King to be captured and tortured to such an extent. This made them want to vomit blood. However, they did not have an explanation for this matter. They had only sent people to follow them, but no one would believe them if they said it. Although they did not explain, Tiandu could not stand it anymore. Damn brat, I must kill you with my own hands today. The lightning on his body spread, and he quickly rushed out towards Lin Xian. On the side, the Five Elements Saint also attacked decisively. The Five Elements Mountain descended from the sky, wanting to suppress Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. A terrifying sword light rose from his body, sweeping across the sky as if it was going to destroy everything. Just as the battle was about to break out, an earth-shattering sound came from afar, tearing the sword chi in the sky apart. The Sea of Lightning and the Five Elements Mountain were sent flying. What was going on? The Five Elements Saint and Lin Xian withdrew their attacks. Lin Xian also withdrew his sword chi with a solemn expression. The Five Elements Holy Land and Fey Imperial Palace frowned, while the others' expressions changed. Not good, this mysterious power is coming again. They had previously thought that the astonishing power was created by Lin Xian's group of five working together. But now, it seemed like that wasn't the case. What else was there? Hiding in this hall? Some people were puzzled, and some people's eyes lit up. Could it be some kind of earth-shattering treasure? Go and take a look. Thinking that it might be a treasure, these people moved quickly. For a moment, they all flew over. Brat, just you wait, this isn't over yet. The Five-Star Holy Sun, Fey Lord Palace, and those from the Nine Heavens Holy Ground all stared coldly at Lin Xian. Whoosh! They left quickly. Lin Xian didn't care about this threat at all. In terms of power, Immortal Palace wasn't weaker than any Holy Land. In terms of individual strength, he didn't think that the Five Elements Saint and the others would be a match for him. Therefore, he didn't care. Instead, he waved his hand and led the people from Immortal Palace forward quickly. Among them, Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu temporarily left his side and joined their own holy lands. The group flew quickly, and soon they arrived at the center of the hall. There was a wall here, and it was extremely simple. There was nothing there. Therefore, no one had noticed it before. But now, a violent energy fluctuation was coming from behind the wall. What was going on? There was something behind the wall. Open it and take a look. These people discussed and prepared to take action. With so many holy lands and sects together, their combined strength was extremely terrifying. Therefore, although this wall was simple and unadorned, it was still cracked by them. Boom! 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 The wall didn't break into pieces, but slowly opened from the middle, as if it was a door. This made everyone even more surprised. Indeed, there was another world behind the wall. In front, many martial artists directly rushed in. Ah! They exclaimed. Everyone thought that it was some kind of danger, but after looking for a long time, there was no blood. This made them feel much more at ease. The people inside exclaimed. There was something inside, a bronze cauldron. Elder, come quickly! The space inside was very big, about the same as the hall outside. The people inside exclaimed. Hearing that, everyone's eyes lit up, and they went in one after another. The hall was indeed very big. Even with so many martial artists from the Holy Lands and sects, it didn't seem crowded. For a moment, they were very puzzled. How could this be? This hall was indeed the same as the one outside, as if it was a replica. The only thing that was different was the bronze cauldron. Moreover, the bronze cauldron was too special. It was very tall, about 100 meters tall, and it looked like a huge bronze cauldron. The bronze cauldron was made of an unknown material. It was incomparably simple, and there were strange patterns carved on it. They looked like Tao patterns, but they also looked like mysterious characters. They were densely packed and covered the entire body of the cauldron. From afar, it looked like all kinds of rare beasts, flowers, birds, insects, and fish. In the entire hall, there was only the bronze cauldron. Presumably, the energy was coming from inside. What was inside? It couldn't be a pill, right? These people were extremely excited because they had the habit of using cauldrons to refine pills. Come to think of it, it really was possible. If it was a divine pill, they would be rich. They might be able to become immortals immediately after eating it. A group of people flew up and looked at it in the sky. They couldn't help it. They couldn't see the 100-meter-tall cauldron from below. In the sky, there were countless figures. They looked like dark clouds. When those people saw the scene inside, they were all stunned. In fact, their eyes were wide open, and their faces were filled with fear. That was because there were no immortal pills or spiritual herbs inside the bronze cauldron. There were only human heads. One human head after another filled the space inside. Those heads were the same as human heads, but they were countless times larger in size. One had to know how big the space inside a 100-meter-tall bronze cauldron was. However, the human heads were completely packed. Everyone's eyes focused, and they looked down like lightning. They counted and found a total of 99 human heads. What shocked them even more was that there was a trace of terrifying aura on those human heads. Although there wasn't much of it left, just a trace of it was enough to shock them. It had definitely surpassed that of a peerless powerhouse. Could those be the heads of an invincible king? It was unknown who said this sentence, but immediately, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. 99 invincible king heads. Heavens, who would be so generous? Was it the sage in this ancient tomb? Why did he kill 99 invincible kings? Why did he put all of their heads in the bronze cauldron? The crowd didn't know, but they felt their hair stand on end. Chapter 2468. At that moment, they all wanted to retreat. That was because they felt that this place was too sinister. They should leave as soon as possible. However, as soon as they moved, a huge force came from the bronze cauldron. Then, all of them were sent flying. Those who were more powerful had their blood boiling, while those who were weaker spat out mouthfuls of blood. At that moment, countless people had a look of fear on their faces. Damn it, it was indeed the bronze cauldron. It was the energy emitted by the bronze cauldron. Could it be the heads of the 99 invincible kings? They did not dare to imagine. Could it be that there was something wrong with the heads of the 99 invincible kings? Or could it be that the heads contained terrifying energy? They did not know what was going on, but the energy in the bronze cauldron was getting stronger and stronger. Hurry up and leave! An elder of the Yin-Yang sect shouted coldly, and everyone prepared to escape. However, soon, an inexplicable force froze all of them as if they were imprisoned. Lin Xian also felt the force. His eyes were cold, and he wanted to use the great dragon sword soul. However, in the next moment, the space around him shattered, and the black hole swallowed him. At the last moment before he fell into the black hole, he used his soul to sense that not only him, but everyone in the hall was swallowed by the black hole. Buzz! The world spun. That feeling only lasted for an instant, and Lin Xian came out. As soon as he came out, the dragon sword field surrounded him, and the terrifying sword light surrounded him. At the same time, he spread out his soul to search around. He found that there was no danger around him, and the walls around him were emitting an ancient aura. It seemed that they were still in the ancient tomb and had not left. Then, what was the reason? Why did the bronze cauldron swallow them all? Random teleportation. Lin Xian thought of a possibility. Perhaps this was a trap to prevent two powerful people from attacking the ancient tomb of the saints. Therefore, it created such a trap to randomly teleport everyone to disperse the powerful forces. That way, no one would be able to threaten the ancient tomb. This was not a good thing for them. Lin Xian did not know how the people from the Immortal Palace were doing. He did not know if Xing Jingqiu and Murong Qingqing would act alone. No, he had to hurry up and find them. They would definitely be able to meet up. Thinking of this, Lin Xian immediately moved forward. He did not walk quickly because he was alone in the tomb of the sage. If he were to encounter another army of Yin soldiers, he would not be able to fight against them. Therefore, he tried his best to be careful and not touch any of the array mechanisms. After walking for a while, nothing happened. But at this time, Lin Xian suddenly heard movement in front of him. There were also energy fluctuations. What is this? The power of the 5 elements. Sensing this aura, Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. It was someone from the 5 elements palace. That's great, I'll be able to kill him. Everyone knew that the 5 elemental palace was too despicable, as they had gone against him time and time again. He did not believe that they would still dare to act scornfully in front of him. Thinking up to this point, Lin Xian used his soul force as he quickly advanced. The person in front was indeed an elder from the 5 elements palace. He was also alone. At this moment, he was teleported into a stone house. He was so angry that he was going crazy. Because he also knew that this was a trap to disperse their forces. Damn it, I have to meet up with them quickly. The elder from the 5 elements palace immediately set off, but after taking 2 steps he stopped. Because he saw a figure standing in the passage in front of him. Damn brat, it's you! The elder from the 5 elements palace narrowed his eyes, and then his face became ferocious. He discovered that this figure was none other than Lin Xian, the person he hated to the point of gnashing his teeth. In an instant, his soul force spread out and penetrated in all directions. Ha ha! He looked up to the sky and laughed. He realized that there was only him and the other party around. The experts from the Immortal Palace were not here. Humph! His eyes were ferocious. Brat, we finally meet again. You don't have any experts protecting you. Let's see how you escape this time. He was overjoyed because this way, he could kill Lin Xian alone. Why should I escape? Lin Xian sneered. The one who should escape is you. But I won't give you the chance. Humph! You want to fight me with just you alone? The elder from the 5 elements palace showed a trace of disdain. His eyes were like rainbows that pierced through the void, and his body was filled with the terrifying power of the 5 elements. Die, brat! The elder formed a seal with both hands and struck out with the power of the 5 elements, forming a terrifying handprint. It pressed down from the sky. Boom! The sky shook, and the 5 elements seal directly enveloped Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian sneered. He had long wanted to make a move, but he did not expect the other party to be so reckless. He waved his arm, and the 5 elements sword flew out. Between heaven and earth, tens of thousands of sword chi shone, like a rain of blades, and crashed into the 5 elements seal. In an instant, the 5 elements seal was shattered. Boom, boom, boom! The two collided, and the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Damn it, how could he be so strong? When the elder from the 5 elements palace saw this scene, his face darkened. He did not expect that the 5 elements seal he struck out would be broken in an instant by the other party. This was really beyond his expectations. Damn it, the 5 elements chain! He waved his hand, and 2 5 elements chain flew out from his sleeve. He wanted to capture Lin Xian and seal him. The 5 elements chain swam in the air like a venomous snake, piercing through the void and making rustling sounds. The power of the 5 elements spread in the air. Clang, clang, clang! The 5 elements chain collided with the sword chi in the sky, making thunderous sounds. Large cracks appeared in the void one after another. The battle between the two was extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, dozens of moves had passed. However, at this moment, Lin Xian suddenly pulled out his ancient sword and cut the invisible chain. Clang! The 5 elements chain fell to the ground, and the elder from the 5 elements palace spat out blood. This was his natal magic treasure, and now that it was cut in half, he was shocked. Damn it! How could he be so strong? The elder from the 5 elements palace's expression became extremely ugly. He did not dare to fight anymore and turned around to escape. He withdrew the 5 elements chain, and under his feet, the power of the 5 elements swam, and he instantly fled into the distance. You want to leave? Lin Xian snorted coldly and used the demigods and semi-devils. His speed was much faster than the elder, and in an instant, he was behind the elder. He slashed down with his sword. Puff! The elder from the 5 elements palace was hit in the back, and he spat out blood and flew out. However, He used this opportunity to increase his speed again. Damn brat, go to hell! The blood in the sky was ignited by him, turning into the fire of the 5 elements that burned fiercely. He wanted to escape. Whoosh! However, Lin Xian did not give him the chance. His face was full of killing intent. The other party had provoked him time and time again, so how could he let him leave? In the next moment, he directly formed a dragon-shaped sword shadow and slashed out. Chapter 2469. Buzz. Lin Xian directly formed a dragon-shaped sword shadow and slashed out. Puff! A dragon-shaped sword she slashed down and instantly extinguished the 5 elements' fire. Not only that, but the sword light also enveloped the 5 elements elder. No! Damn it! The 5 elements elder's face was ferocious. He felt a peerless killing intent. He didn't expect that the other party would have such a sword technique. He wanted to resist, but it was too late. If he had fought desperately from the beginning, he might not have been killed so quickly. However, he was determined to escape. Therefore, he couldn't resist the dragon-shaped sword shadow at all. Puff! With a flash of light, a head flew up, and the 5 elements elder's body fell to the ground. His eyes widened in disbelief. Because his soul was also destroyed in an instant. The 5 elements palace's elder was completely killed. If anyone was here, they would definitely be shocked. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He took the other party's storage ring, and then a ball of black fire floated out and burned the other party's body. His eyes flickered as he identified the direction, and then he strode away. Along the way, he found that this place was very chaotic, like a maze. And there weren't many treasures. He guessed that this shouldn't be a passage, so he wasn't in a hurry to go on his way. Instead, he was looking for prey. Previously, the 5 Elements Palace, Demon King Palace, Myriad Thunder's Sacred Ground, 9 Heavens Sacred Ground, Tuoba family, and Tai Dynasty were eyeing them covetously. They even wanted to join forces to attack his immortal palace, which made Lin Xian very angry. Therefore, he couldn't wait to find the geniuses of these sacred grounds and kill them. Under Lin Xian's search, he really did manage to find another person. This wasn't an ordinary disciple, nor was it an elder, but a saint. The Myriad Thunder Saint. The Myriad Thunder Saint also saw Lin Xian. He immediately roared, and thunder surged all over his body. He rushed over quickly like the god of thunder. As he moved, the entire space trembled. It was as if a thunder beast was roaring, or as if thunder was descending. The saint son of Myriad Thunder's eyes were filled with killing intent. This was not the first time he had fought with Lin Xian. Even in the eastern wilderness, he had fought with Lin Xian before. At that time, the other party had even snatched away one of his magic treasures, the Myriad Lightning Hammer. This made him so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. Later on, he went into seclusion to cultivate and finally broke through to become a mighty figure again. His strength had undergone an earth-shaking change. When he came out of seclusion, he went to look for her, only to find that she had already disappeared from the eastern wilderness. This became his life's greatest regret, because he wanted to kill him with his own hands. Who would have thought that they would meet him again in the tomb of the central region? What made him gnash his teeth in anger was that the other party had also broken through. His strength was not any weaker than his. This made the killing intent in Saint Son Myriad Thunder's heart surge even more. He swore that he must kill this great enemy. However, not only was the other party powerful, he even had the extremely powerful Immortal Palace as his backer. The Immortal Palace's strength was not inferior to their 10,000 lightning holy land. Thus, he had once again lost the opportunity to kill them. However, it was different now. The heads of the 99 invincible kings had scattered them in all directions of the ancient tomb. Now that the two of them had met alone, it was a chance for the Saint Son Myriad Thunder to take revenge and kill the other party. Boy, I have to say that you're really unlucky to meet me alone. Today will be the day you die. Lightning erupted all over Saint Son Myriad Thunder's body. Humph, It's not certain who will die. Lin Xian also sneered. He was also extremely excited. That was because he had been looking for these people. He did not expect that he would really find them. Do you think you can kill me? The Saint Sun Myriad Thunder came close. His body was surging with killing intent, bringing with it an extremely powerful sense of oppression. Fortunately, there was no one around. Otherwise, he would not have been instantly pressed to the ground. Or he would have been pierced by the terrifying lightning. I wonder if the elders of the 10,000 Lightning Holy Land will be furious if you die here? Lin Xian sneered. You want to kill me? You're overestimating yourself. 2 terrifying lightning bolts erupted from Saint Sun Myriad Thunder's eyes, piercing through the void. He took a step forward and instantly arrived in front of Lin Xian. A terrifying lightning fist stretched out and directly enveloped the space, including Lin Xian. Crackle! The violent lightning power erupted, shattering a large area of the void, and the figure in the space was also shattered. However, Saint Sun Myriad Thunder did not relax because he could see that it was not his opponent's real body, but an afterimage. Boy, there's no need to hide. You can't hide! Saint Sun Myriad Thunder shouted coldly and attacked again. He waved his hands, bringing about a sky full of lightning. The entire space was completely shattered, and the terrifying lightning covered the sky and earth. Just a single bolt of lightning was enough to kill an ordinary mighty being. Even a peerless powerhouse would not dare to resist it head-on. However, such a terrifying lightning bolt could not do anything to Lin Xian. Lin Xian struck out with the ancient dragon abyss sword and slashed down. The sea of lightning in the sky was cut open, and a vacuum area appeared. Not only that, the sword chi that filled the sky was like a divine red, charging towards Saint Sun Myriad Thunder. Before the sword arrived, the astonishing aura that it carried almost made Saint Sun Myriad Thunder's blood freeze. Get lost! Saint Sun Myriad Thunder was furious. He did not expect that the other party would dare to kill him, which made him extremely furious. The next moment, he pulled out a blue lightning saber from the sea of lightning in the sky. Clang! The saber and sword collided, emitting a dazzling light, and cracks appeared in the void. He blocked it. He had finally managed to block the sword. You're just SOSO. I'll kill you today! After blocking Lin Xian's sword, Saint Sun Myriad Thunder once again revealed a ferocious smile. Today, I'll let you see the great magical power of the Myriad Thunder Sacred Land. Ninefold Thunder Saber. Saint Sun Myriad Thunder held the Thunder Saber in his hand, and his expression became extremely fierce. The murderous aura that filled the sky gushed out, and then he slashed out. This was a terrifying Thunder Saber technique, which was a heaven-grade cultivation technique. There were a total of 9 layers, and each layer had 9 sabers. There were a total of 81 sabers. Each layer was stronger than the previous one. In the end, it was really like a thunder god descending to the world, and no one could resist it. Sure enough, as soon as the ninefold Thunder Saber appeared, it turned into a thunderbolt and struck down from the sky. Rumble! The surrounding sword chi was all shattered. One could imagine how terrifying the ninefold Thunder Saber was. Lin Xian performed the demigods and semi-devils and flashed quickly. However, the space here was not big, so there was not much distance for him to dodge. Whoosh! Sword of wood. Countless trees and forests surrounded him, blocking the thunder and lightning in the sky. Then, Lin Xian quickly rushed over. The 5 elements sword technique and the chaotic heaven destroyer sword. He used it to the point of perfection. Streaks of terrifying sword light shot out one after another. They bobbed up and down in the sky, colliding with the ninefold Thunder Saber. The incomparably violent ninefold Thunder Saber, with 81 sabers, swept across the sky. However, it was gradually suppressed. Saint Sun Myriad Thunder could not believe it at all. Chapter 2470. However, when the 81 blade lights were completely shattered, he had to believe that the other party had completely suppressed him in terms of attack. Damn it! I don't believe it! 9-1! The Saint Son of Thousand Thunder roared again. This time, he held the blade with both hands, and the thunder blade in his hand suddenly erupted. An even more terrifying thunder and lightning surrounded it. 81 rays of saber light appeared once again, circling around him continuously. Finally, they merged into a blade light. This blade light combined the power of 81 blades. It could be said that it was extremely terrifying and could split the sky and the earth. Boy, go to hell! Seeing this scene, Lin Xian's eyes also burst out a fierce light. 5-1, he struck out with the 5 elements sword. 5 sword lights flickered around him, forming a 5-colored divine sword, and collided with the 9-layered thunder blade in the sky. A sonorous sound rang out, and the light rushed through the entire sky. The entire passage was bright, and the terrible sound waves spread in all directions. At this moment, the people in the surrounding passages all felt this rumbling sound. Someone was fighting. They were shocked and listened carefully. Buzz! Many people moved. They wanted to rush over, but when they just flew a few steps. Then, he felt a wave rushing towards him. Several martial artists were directly slapped away, vomiting blood. The rest of the people stopped. Damn it, what a violent power! Who was fighting? They were stunned and didn't dare to go forward. In the passage, the Saint Son of Thousand Thunder's hair was disheveled, and the thunder and lightning on his body were constantly intertwining, making crackling sounds. His handsome face became incomparably ferocious because the thunder blade in his hand was broken into 2 halves. In the process of the fight just now, his 9-layered thunder blade was defeated by the other party's 5 elements sword. This was unbearable. Ah! Damn it! I'm going to kill you! The Saint Son of Thousand Thunder roared crazily, and 2 balls of thunder fire formed in his eyes, burning fiercely. Kill me? You don't have the chance. Lin Xian strode over, and the sword chi on his body became more and more dazzling. The 2 seals in his hands were unlocked, and the aura of the ancient dragon abyss sword broke out again. The 2 swords struck the Saint Son of Thousand Thunder and sent him flying. The Saint Son of Thousand Thunder somersaulted several times in the air, hit the wall, and spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it! A priceless treasure sword! Do you think I don't have one? He roared crazily. Thor's spear! With a furious roar, he also took out a blue spear from his storage ring. The moment the long spear appeared, the void began to tremble violently. It was simply unable to withstand the might of the spear. This was also a priceless artifact. Brat, I'll make you wish you were dead. Holding the Thunder God's spear, the myriad Thunder Saint charged over again. After using the Heaven Great artifact, the myriad Thunder Holy Son's combat strength had greatly increased again. He was confident that he could kill his opponent this time. The 2 heaven-step treasures collided in the air, erupting with unparalleled power. However, the situation was a little different. The ancient dragon abyss sword was actually being suppressed. Ha ha! Brat, you were only able to suppress me by relying on the power of that priceless sword. Now that I have a similarly priceless artifact, let's see what you'll use to fight me. He was simply too happy. Because he had finally suppressed his opponent. Lin Xian frowned. Something was wrong. His opponent's priceless artifact didn't seem to be sealed. What was going on? He could clearly feel that the power of his opponent's Thunder God's spear was about the same as his ancient dragon abyss sword with 3 layers of seals unlocked. That was unlikely. One had to know that his ancient sword was a broken sword with 9 layers of seals sealed. Could it be that the ancient sword wasn't an ordinary priceless sword? He asked. Hey Tuesday. Hey Tu transmitted his voice to him. It was indeed not an ordinary heaven-step sword. The Thunder God's spear in his hand was a low-grade heaven-step artifact. The ancient dragon abyss sword in your hand was at least a high-grade or top-grade heaven-step artifact. Although it was broken, its grade was still higher than his opponent's. Moreover, it was an ancient artifact. A heaven-step artifact refined in ancient times was different from the current heaven-step artifacts. Therefore, in terms of power, his Thunder God's spear couldn't be compared to your ancient dragon abyss sword. However, you still couldn't unleash the full power of the ancient dragon abyss sword. On the other hand, he could unleash the full power of the thunder god's spear. Therefore, you were suppressed. So that was the case. Lin Xian understood. Lin Xian didn't open the third seal. Instead, he directly summoned the great dragon sword soul. He let it fuse with the ancient dragon abyss sword. Buzz! The ancient dragon abyss sword trembled, and the sound of a dragon and sword rang out as if it was alive. He swung the sword. With a clang, the thunder god's spear was sent flying and hit the wall, bursting into countless sparks. Damn it, how did his power become stronger again? The 10,000 Thunder Saint quickly retreated, his figure as fast as lightning. His arm was numb, and he couldn't feel it. Buzz! The energy in his body instantly restored his arm, but his expression was extremely solemn. He attacked again. However, the more he fought, the more shocked the 10,000 Thunder Saint was. Because he found that the little advantage he had just gained had disappeared again. His opponent tied with him again. Not only that, but he was also suppressed. In particular, his opponent's sword chi was getting fiercer and fiercer, which made his hair stand on end. Damn it! The 10,000 Thunder Saint was furious. Thunder God Bestowal. This was a divine ability that came with a heaven-grade cultivation technique. The Thunder God's spear burst out with an unparalleled light, turned into a flash of lightning, and stabbed over. Lin Xian didn't dare to be careless. He used the 4 killer moves of the chaotic Heaven Destroyer sword to contend with it. The sky fell and the earth cracked. The two retreated. But at this time, Lin Xian attacked again. The dragon-shaped sword shadow erupted, and an unparalleled power quickly slashed out 3 times. The Thunder God's spear buzzed and trembled. The 10,000 Thunder Saints' blood was in turmoil, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale. Damn it, I don't believe it! However, Lin Xian swung his sword again. This sword was like a giant dragon, crushing the entire sky, and fiercely whipping the 10,000 Thunder Saint. Bang! The 10,000 Thunder Saint rolled out again. The thunder and lightning on his body and armor were directly broken. His whole body was bleeding wildly, and he was almost cut in half from the middle. Damn it! The 10,000 Thunder Saint wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were extremely ferocious. He waved the Thunder God's spear and swept it out. Crack! Crack! The space was torn apart, forming a blue crack that swallowed forward. This crack was very strange. There were small thunderbolts around it, which intertwined with each other to form mysterious runes. Obviously, this was not an ordinary crack, but another of the 10,000 Thunder Saints' divine abilities. Thunder Devour. Boom! 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 The entire space was completely enveloped by mysterious runes, and Lin Xian's body was also swallowed. Whoosh! The mysterious runes quickly intertwined, shattered the void, and completely exiled Lin Xian. Ha ha! Boy, go to hell! The 10,000 Thunder Saint was abnormally ferocious. He knew that his opponent couldn't come out. This crack would directly banish his opponent. Although he couldn't kill his opponent, it was also a good thing to let his opponent leave this ancient tomb. When he had enough opportunities in the ancient tomb and broke through again, it would be time for him to kill his opponent. Chapter 2471. When he had enough opportunities in the ancient tomb and broke through again, it would be time for him to kill his opponent. Lin Xian was swallowed in an instant. Feeling the darkness around him and an invisible force surging toward him, he snorted coldly. The great dragon sword soul roared. Countless sword chi slashed the spatial energy apart. Buzz! Lin Xian moved like a dragon. His eyes burst out with a piercing light. It directly pierced through the void. With a golden light, he opened his heavenly secret divine eyes and locked onto the Saint Sun's position. Crack! He waved his long sword, shattered the void, and appeared behind the Saint Sun. The sword slashed down from the sky. Bang! Ah! With a scream, the Saint Sun's left arm was directly cut off. Blood flowed wildly, and his miserable voice made one's scalp tingle. The Saint Sun turned into a bolt of lightning and fled frantically. Damn it! He was so angry! Because he didn't expect that his opponent would come out and appear behind him. That sword was simply too swift and fierce. Under normal circumstances, he had to deal with it with all his strength, not to mention a sneak attack. One of his arms was directly cut off. Surrounded by thunder and lightning, he wanted to regrow his severed arm. But he found that he couldn't do it at all. There was an extremely terrifying sword in the wound, which prevented his severed arm from regrowing. Damn it! Seeing this scene, the Saint Sun gritted his teeth. Boy, just you wait. I won't let you go. Do you think I will let you go? Lin Xian stepped on the dragon's shadow and quickly rushed over. The ancient sword in his hand was swung again. Seeing this, the 10,000 Thunder Sage quickly formed a few thunder shields. 8 laydowns surrounded him, forming the most powerful defense. The ancient sword hit the shield, making a thunderous sound. The Saint Sun rolled and flew backward. After 3 sword strikes, the 8 thunder shields were directly shattered. The 4th sword strike sent the Saint Sun flying again. Boy, just you wait. I will definitely pay you back for today's humiliation. After all, the Saint Sun was a saint, a genius. He had many life-saving means. He spat out a lightning bead, which instantly wrapped around him. He smashed through the void, disappearing without a trace. Lin Xian slashed out 9 times in a row, shattering the void. But in the end, his opponent still managed to escape. Humph! Lin Xian coldly snorted as he looked at the healing space. Instead of chasing after him, he turned around and looked at the ground. There was a fallen arm, which belonged to the 10,000 Thunder Saint. With a wave of his sleeve, countless sword chi sealed the arm before he put it away. This was a good item. At a critical moment, it could stimulate the 10,000 Thunder Sage and deal a blow to the 10,000 Thunder Holy Land. Who asked them to be so arrogant? This time, he was going to ruthlessly slap their faces. Lin Xian continued on his way. However, this time around, he stopped after walking for half a day. Because he discovered that there was no path ahead. With a cold snort, Lin Xian punched out, shattering the void. However, the wall did not change at all. 1. He struck out with his ancient sword again, thrusting it out. This time, there was finally a change. The long sword directly sank into the wall. However, when he pulled it out, he discovered that there was blood dripping from the ancient Dragon Abyss sword. And the crack on the wall was quickly healing. Damn it, what's going on? Why is it so strange? Lin Xian frowned. The wall was bleeding. Could it be a living thing? He did not know. He thrust out his sword again. This time, the ancient Dragon Abyss sword kept growing longer. It was about 100 meters long. When he pulled it out, he discovered that there was more blood flowing this time. However, Lin Xian could clearly feel that it was not the end yet. What's going on? Is this wall 100 meters thick? What a joke! He did not believe it, but his soul power could not penetrate it. There seemed to be some kind of restriction in the wall that prevented his soul power from probing. Lin Xian had no choice. He used the ancient Dragon Abyss sword to split the wall, but he found that he could not split it at all. He could only stab it. What should he do? Lin Xian frowned. Could it be that he had to go back the way he came and explore other places? He wanted to do so, but at this moment, He Tu transmitted a message. Kid, try those Dao patterns you got. What's the meaning of these Dao patterns? Lin Xian asked. He Tu transmitted a message. I don't know, but it should be related to this ancient tomb. No matter what, it was from the same period. Indeed, this ancient tomb was at least 100,000 years old. Thinking of this, Lin Xian took out the treasure map with 6 Dao patterns. These Dao patterns were very simple, like sword marks. However, it was only simple on the surface. If one looked at it carefully, it would be more profound. It was as if there were endless secrets that could not be studied thoroughly. This was probably the mystery of Dao patterns. Dao patterns were even more profound than runes. There were even legends that said that Dao patterns were not invented by humans, but by the top experts of the world to sense the heaven and earth. They used Dao patterns to show the secrets of heaven and earth. The word Dao was enough to show how terrifying these runes were. Alright, I'll study one first. Anyway, there was no way out now, so Lin Xian simply sat down and began to comprehend. It was fine for him to comprehend, but a month passed. When Lin Xian woke up, he was also extremely surprised. He originally thought that it would only take 1 or 2 days or a few hours. But he didn't expect that this comprehension would take a month. And this was when He Tu alerted him from outside. Otherwise, it would probably take a year. Kid, how is it? How much have you comprehended? He Tu asked. Lin Xian shook his head. It was just a little. Be content. Even an invincible king couldn't understand it. Even the weakest of these Dao patterns were left behind by sages. It's impossible for you to fully comprehend them now. Lin Xian nodded. He understood now. Indeed, these Dao patterns were at least left behind by saints. No matter how strong an invincible king was, he only had the king domain as his foundation. But it was different at the saint realm. They could use the laws of heaven and earth. More importantly, they could absorb the essence of the laws of heaven and earth, condense Dao patterns, and construct their own world. This allowed the king domain to take another step forward and form a small world. Therefore, it was already very shocking that Lin Xian could comprehend so much. Let's give it a try. Lin Xian stretched out a finger and drew an arc in the air. It seemed simple and casual, but it contained a mysterious principle. Buzz! As soon as the arc was drawn, countless tiny patterns spread out in the air and flew forward. Whoosh! It sank into the wall. The wall seemed to have been torn apart by a pair of large hands, and a bloody hole appeared. Endless blood flowed out. Go! Lin Xian's figure flashed, and the dragon sword domain enveloped him. He turned into a sword light and rushed into the bloody hole. Then, the bloody hole slowly disappeared. The entire wall healed again, and Lin Xian had already entered the wall. He discovered that there was endless blood around him, like a sea of blood. This made him wonder what exactly was this. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.